Alright, I haven't heard Ben yet. Are you still fixing your headset, G? Oh, no, he's hopped out. Okay.
Yeah, I think he had to restart Discord.
Okay. Fox is not feeling well. She has a sore throat, so she might be a little bit quiet in this game. Say something, G.
Have you turned your headphones on?
They were working fine earlier. There you go.
There we
Next
go.
time you plug it in, plug it into this side, it exits into the thing. So I had to restart this one.
Okay.
Bring the mic
Yep.
down. Okay, cool. All right.
There we go. I had it off my head for a second, so yeah.
Go, G.
Yo.
Ben, this is Justin, old friend of mine.
Hello.
Hi, Justin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Ben is my
Try not to
brother.
get Jeremy and I confused.
Half meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to hear
exactly. Yeah.
Justin, I told you this earlier too, but he'll be sitting in. His character's half ready to go, thereabouts. Just got to add some spells to him and stuff, but he won't be introduced just yet anyway, so you just want to sit in. So, just like, for new players, we'll be kind of going a little bit slower to kind of make things make sense for him, stuff like that. So.
No problem.
All right, you are breathing on the mic, G.
One under the fan. Okay.
All right.
Better?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Okay, now, quick primer for everybody. Will everybody have the MOTD?
Yeah.
Fox? Fox, you there?
Yep.
Okay. All good? Alright, so, hang on, that's a little bit on the quiet side. There we go. Alright, so where we left off, we'll get to the exact result of that last roll. Everybody remember exactly what happened at the end there?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been waiting 2 weeks.
I kind of thought you might be, anxious to find out what the result of that was. I did give everybody inspiration as well, by the way, for your handling of Samson, as well as the non-lethal means of getting rid of the owlbears. I was impressed, so that was a good job. Could have been a boring fight, but it made it a lot more fun, so good job with those. I gave it to Pogo too, but he really can't really use it, of course, yet, so... Alright, where we left off, actually I'll give Justin a little bit of backstory here. So, basically you guys were approaching the tree line outside of Cadogan as you were kind of heading down the slope towards the town there. And a small girl was yelling for help and caught Artemis' attention. So you guys approached. Samson was a little bit leery about this at first, but of course seeing it was a little girl that obviously needed help, rushed over with you. Go ahead and... For Artemis and Norok, go ahead and give me insight checks as well. Sarah, yours was already a natural 20, so we don't need to get yours.
Yeah, I just got like this weird like Hansel and Gretel feeling, something just didn't feel right.
Oh, I did not explain to Justin what the tower is. I'm going to make some notes throughout this to remind myself stuff to go over with Justin.
Sounds good.
I'll explain what that is later. Basically, what the players did is they rolled it in a way that they can't see the results, but I can, and there's a narrative reason for that I'll explain later.
Okay.
All right. I guess I'll leave it at this. That Norok and Artemis, you guys don't get any. You don't get the kind of sense that Sarah is, but she's far enough behind you that you wouldn't be able to notice it anyways. So Sarah, this is up to you on whether you choose to share this or how. But remember, you can't speak to them, out loud. So. Let me know when you get that. Okay. So that's how you feel about the situation. Again, Norok and Artemis do not have any way of knowing that. So that's where we're at. But Artemis, this little girl, is pulling you along. She has told you that her mother is trapped under their collapsed house back in the woods, that trees fell over and crushed into the house, and she's trapped underneath it, that she's been stuck in there for days, and she says, please, you have to help our house collapse. My mom is trapped. She can't hold out much longer. I've been feeding her as best I can, but we need help. What do you do? Samson is already rushing ahead, trying to grab her other hand to kind of help pull her along. So go ahead, Fox.
I kind of follow her, but still keep my guard.
Okay. Norok and Sarah?
How far away from the little girl are Norok and Sarah?
You guys are maybe 10 feet back. She had pretty rapidly started pulling Arteme along. In fact, actually, give me a perception check on Arteme, please. So you guys are about 10 feet back. And then Samson ran ahead of you. Ben, are you carrying the bag, or is Samson right now? Just 50-50, up to you.
I'm guessing that I probably would be, because I'd spend more time carrying it. So if we hadn't decided, I would have a more likely chance of having it on me.
All right, that's fair. All right, then you're carrying the bag. Samson has rushed ahead to grab the little girl's other hand. You guys are 10 feet back. So what's Sarah doing?
Okay, so I'm just gonna, because I'm still riding the broom, I'm gonna float up next to Norok's head and just kind of whisper to him and be like, something just doesn't feel right. I don't think we should trust this completely. Okay. And then I'm floating back down and getting off of the broom, and I'm gonna hold the rod in my left hand while we're going.
Okay. All right, that's awfully untrustworthy, but little girl wouldn't necessarily know what that means anyway, so nor would Justin, of course. Fox, did you get that?
Are you saying I don't know what holding your rod means?
It's a different kind, but all right. Then, if that's the case, then are you guys still kind of going along then?
Yeah. But I'm keeping an eye on our surroundings as we're going.
Arteme, with knowing that, what I just sent you, what is Arteme, or how is she handling it?
I'd still see what the fuss is about, but I definitely have my guard up and have one of my weapons ready.
Okay, so you're holding. She's got your arm. Let's say your left, so you reach down, grab your whip or something with your right hand. Okay. Give me a perception check on Norok, please. Since you're the only one that's not really doing something. You know what, actually, Sarah, floats over to your ear, basically, because it's the only way that she can get it by your head anyways with the broom. Whispers that to you, that, that she doesn't trust this, and then hops off the broom and gets down. After that, you look over. Why did you... Oh, you have advantage from the... Shit, you rolled awful, dude. Even with perception, you got a 5 and a 1. Or a 7 and a 1, sorry. So, real awful. Never mind, you don't notice anything. So, everything seems on the up and up, and Samson seems fully bought in. He's definitely going along with this, for sure. And this little girl leads you out into the woods, basically, presumably towards this house that she says has collapsed. And up in the distance, it takes, only a matter of a couple of minutes. You're basically getting in through this copse of trees, where this kind of tree line surrounds Cadogan, the port town, heading down the slope here. And as soon as you get a little ways into the trees, you can see this crushed house in the distance, and you're kind of making your way there. Give me perception checks, all three of you. The DC is going to be really high, so you may not get anything here, but... Definitely not with that. Reroll that, Sarah. It was a natural 1, so you get to reroll it with lucky. Fox, was that was the earlier one, right? Or was that perception one that you just rolled?
Yeah, it's the one I just rolled.
Okay, all right, cool. Quick note to Arteme real quick. There you go. Let me know when you have that. Justin, there are times... It's not usually this... quite... I guess because you just saw a bunch of dice roll in the tower, so you didn't see any results there. And then I'm sending messages to individual players because certain players are noticing things that others don't. And that happens sometimes, especially in kind of a tense moment like this might be.
So unless they tell each other, then you don't know.
Exactly. And they often do. Like when it's not a moment where there's NPCs that they may or may not trust, then they'll talk to each other and explain these things. But that's not up to me to do. So what I do is I would give this information to Arteme in this case, for example, and it's up to her how she responds to that. Maybe she tells the other players that, maybe she doesn't. But
maybe she thinks this will be hilarious.
Maybe it would be a fun prank to play on them. Sure.
Watch them fall into that fucking trap. This will be great.
So she noticed something that Norok and Sarah did not. So I sent her a message that she just responded that she got. So that being said, this girl has pulled you into the woods towards this house here, and she's still like very aggressively yanking you along. Samson doesn't seem to be feeling anything is off. He's really very actively kind of pulling ahead along with her, and is rushing straight towards the house. What are you guys doing?
I'd
She's
kind
like
of
frantically
pull on
pointing.
it.
She's in there. She's in there. She's trying to like point you guys to go inside.
I would kind of pull her back a bit and say, okay, wait.
Pull the little girl back.
Yeah.
Okay. Samson turns and looks at you and says, "What are you doing? Her mom's in there. We got to go help her."
I would just give him a sidelong glance and say, take a closer look at the house.
Okay. He says there isn't time for this. He kind of sighs at you, somewhat exasperated, and he's heading towards the house. What are Norok and Sarah doing?
Is that supposed to be a blank gray square in there? Is that just the roof of the house, or are we not able to see it for some reason?
That's the roof of the house. Yeah.
Okay, but it's just masked. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you guys on the map. Go ahead. What's the marching order look like? Let me shrink Sarah down.
I would assume that I would be up by Norok since we were together.
Okay. All right, then probably over there-ish.
Yeah, roughly.
Samson's in the front. There you go. There's a little girl. She's about here-ish, trying to get everybody to go inside. So, what is Norok and Sarah doing? Justin, you can see the map now, right?
Yeah, it's funny because the gray part made me think my app was all busted, but
no,
now it's just
that's
a roof apparently.
Yeah,
possibly a black hole, just a bunch of gray area.
they can't see inside, so that's just an area that's mapped.
Is it like another $400 to buy the roof pack for the game?
It's a DLC you gotta buy. It's owned by EA. All right.
Well, I mean, ours probably. Yeah.
I'm just gonna yell at Samson to wait. That something seems off.
Okay. He make a persuasion check.
Ooh, I'm good at that.
Walk up. No, he did not believe you. So you yelled at him to wait, and he's looked at you, and there's just this look of disgust on his face that you guys would be so distrusting of a poor little wounded girl and her mom, and goes rushing in. And the moment he's through the front door, you hear the sound of wood breaking, and you see him just disappear. Like he's falling through the floor. Clearly plummeting through.
Called it.
And as soon as he's like starting to fall, there is a shout of now from the roof above you guys and nearby, and something like flinging through the air. I need both Arteme, probably. No, the range is high enough. Arteme and Sarah to give me dex saves, and then give me some initiative.
Oh, God.
Not with that.
Is this from Chrono Trigger?
This is the Chrono Trigger battle music.
Fantastic!
What the hell, man? Disadvantage not helping you today. Not at all.
Nope, not with that. Your initiative is good. Yeah, never mind. I was thinking the dex save, but you weren't. You're too big for it to have worked on you anyways.
Okay.
But Arteme hears it just in time and dodges. Oh, that was initiative roll. Dex save is still high enough for Arteme, but not Sarah. Looking up, Arteme, you see a web, like a roped web, throw out above you, and you duck and run forward just in time as a net flings out over your head and lands squarely over Sarah. Let me grab that token. And Sarah, you are trapped inside of that net.
You know, I knew a girl named Annette who also did the same thing.
she threw a rope?
She trapped me. No, she trapped me.
The little girl does, of course, not look very perturbed by this. She immediately spins around, and directly in front of Arteme, she holds a small, just a little wooden chunk of wood, basically, like a twig, out towards Arteme, and Arteme make a... Oh, hang on. A wisdom save, please, for Artemis. The little girl... Well, shit. The little girl starts murmuring this very melodic-sounding tune, very natural sound, like a lullaby almost, that sounds a little bit familiar. You guys remember from 2 weeks ago?
Was that the? No, those were jokes. But didn't something try to charm us with that shapeshifter thing too when they did the
It's
jokes?
Owlbears.
That was Tasha's laughter, but the melodic natural lullaby that you guys heard, actually Sarah would remember, I suppose, because Artemis was already asleep. Sounds familiar because it seems like the same song that you heard that was trying to lull Sarah and Sai. Oh, I didn't put Sai on here, sorry. There you go, Fox. Where would she be?
Probably close to, or actually she would have had a bit trouble catching up, so she'd probably be a bit closer.
Would she have been, I mean, just, without meta knowledge, would she have been near enough to be caught in the net?
Probably.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a dex save for her.
How do I do that?
I can roll it.
I don't have a sheet.
Yeah, that's fine. Just roll a d20 and I'll do the math. Her save would be +1. Definitely caught. So she is also restrained. Let me grab the effect for you guys. It's actually, Becky just learned what restrained was earlier today for Dragon Heist. Alright, and restrained on side. There you go. You are both caught in the net, and as soon as all of this occurs at the same time, you see the shout from above the roof there. Let's see, 13 and 16. Let me start making these guys visible for you now that you hear them coming out from around the traps here. We're going to go to initiative order here in a second, but you guys see a couple of more. These are all halflings, by the way, that you're seeing up here. Are hopping out from behind the trees over here and beginning to, looks like they're ready to fire at you with little short bows from the trees over on the side. And we will begin with Sarah, who is restrained and under the net. I'm going to go ahead and reveal at least part of the building here, because there are two that are up on top of the building that were throwing shit down at you. And Samson fell inside. He's inside of a trap that fell through the floor. Fox, I need an initiative for Sai still.
Oh, I did that. That was the 12.
12? Okay. There you go.
Let's see. Well, shoot. Okay, so I can't do both mage armor and a bonus action spell, can I?
Is Mage Armor a bonus action?
No, but Shadow Knife is. I was going to bring it up.
You can do a cantrip and a leveled spell. So if one of them is a bonus action, the other spell has to be a cantrip.
How heavy does this net feel?
It is not super heavy, but basically for you to break out of it is I think it's a DC 10, let me check. Strength check DC 10 to break out of it, or deal 5 slashing damage to it to cut your way out.
Oh. Alright, I'm just gonna do my Shadow Knife then.
Even though you're, like, almost missing an arm?
Yes.
Okay. You're gonna use it to cut your way out then?
Yeah.
Alright, so bonus action to bring out your Shadow Knife and then just start cutting away with your action?
Yeah.
Alright, go ahead and roll that. You don't need to make a target for it, but go ahead and roll the damage without a target.
I accidentally hit the wrong effect.
I'll take it off.
Okay.
There you go.
Should have been that one. Alright.
Okay.
And
So you,
just
holding your right arm out, you kind of drop the mage hand ruse, and your kind of shadowy arm appears from it. You extend that out into the knife shape and start cutting away at the rope. Go ahead and roll the damage for it.
damage.
That's enough. So you start just severing through this rope and manage to cut a wide enough swath to pull it on either side and pull yourself out of it. You look back though and see that where you dropped this whole rope just landed straight on Sai. You just dropped a pile of rope on her.
Shit. Alright.
Is that it, your turn?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Can I move?
Yeah.
Get it up. All right. I'm just going to hide behind Norok. There we go.
All right. Not actually hide, because you used your action, your bonus action, but just get behind him for cover.
Yep.
Because he's about to get shot. So. All right, Artemis'
figured.
turn. What do you think, Fox?
So Samson is actually in the house. So...
You can't see him anymore. He fell down. He was basically the trap in there. The floor fell through, and he's now underneath outside of you, and
Okay.
like grumbling and shouting.
Yeah, I'm gonna use plant growth then.
You can use what?
Plant growth.
Okay. What you doing? Well, I mean, what are you doing with plant growth?
Oh, I'm gonna put it to encircle the people in front of
Entangle or plant growth?
plant growth. Sorry, spike growth.
Oh, spike growth. Okay, all right. I was like, well, okay, plant growth. Like, if you're trying to do something specific with it, that's cool. I was just curious what it was. But all right, let me grab your token for that. The range is huge. Where are you? Here, I'll drop it on the map for you. What's the radius on it?
20-foot radius.
Yeah, this is going to cover a lot of ground. So that's 15. There you go. That's 20. All right, go ahead and move it wherever you're putting it.
Like that.
Okay. He's down in the pit, so it covers all the ground surfaces. I would say, you know what? He's not moving at the moment anyway, so I wouldn't be too concerned about him. But basically, you hold out your hands for this, and the grass starts to kind of stand up straight and solidify and almost crystallize to the point where these kind of shards are popping out from it, filling this whole area. That's concentration? So go ahead and put up your effects and everything for it. You have your concentration effect.
Yeah, try.
There
Okay,
you
there
go.
we go.
Alright. Movement, any bonus actions?
I'm gonna do shillelagh.
Can do what? You do hear Sai yelping from behind you, by the way.
Yeah, but if I try and move right now, it would give an opportunity attack.
Because the little girl's in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll take my hand off my whip and grab my staff and
And Shillelagh? Okay.
Yeah.
Shillelagh is not concentration. Okay, cool. Alright, go ahead and put the Shillelagh effect too. And is that it for your turn then?
Yeah.
Alright. Then Samson, being down in the well, you hear him scream when the spikes go up. He was trying to grab the walls, and they just became spiky. Go ahead and roll damage once on Samson for me, for your spike growth. That was a good roll. He's grumbling very angrily about these small folk fuckers that he was trying to help, and is going to try to climb his way out, which he does not succeed. He is still stuck in there, and he can't move really, so nothing else to do. Inside, you hear more shouting, and then for at least Arteme can see him, another halfling becomes visible running up. Oh, the other two, by the way, 6 and 13, you can see on the edge there, they're actually up on the roof. But another one comes into view, from over here, and he's standing at the top of the pit here, and he's holding out a crossbow and aiming it down in the pit, and you see him release the crossbow to shoot at Samson. Oops, dropped it on the spike. And you hear Samson scream in pain as a bolt sinks into him, apparently. It is Sai's turn. So she can try to break free. There's already a hole for her, so you can either make a dex check for her to try to kind of climb her way through the rope to try to find the way out that Sarah cut, or she can chew her own way out with a strength check.
She would probably try and make Sarah's hole a bit bigger so Sarah can kind of go past it.
Sarah's already out, so the hole that
Oh,
Sarah...
okay.
Yeah, she cut a hole for herself. It's just hard to find it. So for Sai to find it, she can basically kind of wiggle her way through this until she makes her way. I'd say that she probably would have advantage, so give me a dex, or give me a flat d20 roll with advantage. And her modifier is +2 for that. Alright, so 17. She sniffs her way through and kind of just pushes her snout up through the opening in the net and pulls her way out. She is now freed. So what is she doing? She still has her movement, and that was her action to get out of it, so movement or bonus action. I'll go ahead and get rid of the net. It's still there on the ground, but just keep that in mind. As long as you guys don't, fall down or get knocked prone there, you'll be okay.
Okay. She'd probably back away over here.
Okay. Then it is now that you guys know that she's hostile, the little girl's turn. Norok never got close enough for her for this to be visible. She isn't going to move, but being directly in front of Arteme, she's uncomfortable with, so you see her burst into a cloud of kind of purplish smoke and then reappear, and she's reappeared up on the rooftop up here. There was Misty Step that she just casted. I don't have an action button for her, so that was her bonus action, and as her action she is going to Magic Missile. She is going to throw... It'll be... probably all of them. No, it'll be 2 at Arteme and 2 at Sarah, I think, because she's trying to go with the little ones first and hoping that the big guys will deal with. You gonna shield?
I'm gonna use the rod as my reaction.
All right, it is a level 2 that she's casting it at. So go ahead and mark while you're using your reaction. Then the other 2 will still hit Arteme. Your spike growth just fell, Fox. As one of these glowing bolts smacks you in the side of the head, it's just enough to break your concentration, and your spike growth begins to dissipate. So that's dropped off of the board. And you're hit with 2 magic missiles. I forget, does the rod absorb the spell and, like, it doesn't happen, or does the effect still happen, but you just... Okay.
Nope,
right.
It absorbs it completely.
Okay, we'll go ahead and add 2 levels to your rod then.
It's on there.
Okay. And that is it for her turn. Norik's turn.
Okay.
You saw 2 little halfling bandits appear on the roof and throw a net down and ready a crossbow. You saw another just through the doorway start shooting down at Samson, and you see 2 more on the left come out from behind the trees that are about to shoot at you.
Okay. So the other 2 bandits that are over there, 13 and 6, they're on the roof, and then the captain and the girl are inside. Or no, the girl's on the roof too, right? Or are they all on the roof?
The little girl. You know what? Actually, she probably would have dropped the guys by now. She does not look like a little girl. That was well, you wouldn't know her name, but anyway, she's a halfling woman. That was a disguised self that she had up.
Okay.
But she and the 2 bandits are both on the roof, and the captain is inside.
Okay, so he's inside the house. All right.
He's inside the house, and then the 2 on the left are just popped out from behind trees to shoot at you.
Yeah, and either way, I do notice those 2 over there, so I'm going to intercept them. First, I'm going to rage.
Real impressive, by the way, that a halfling girl is going to jump on a roof.
She didn't jump. She cast a spell that...
That's like a 23 acrobatics. All right.
She teleported herself up there. She has a spell that... You'll actually have that too, presumably, if it's one you choose, but it's a spell called Misty Step.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to...
I mean, I kind of like the idea of Big B Hand just pulling me around and riding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like the super version of the Mage Hand, huh?
Yeah, it's the
that you can actually do stuff with.
Yeah, like fly yourself around or punch things or push things or whatever. Just sit in the palm
Sweet.
of it and have it fly you around. All right, you're gonna reckless attack this guy,
Yeah,
but
and then
not frenzy.
no, I'm not going to frenzy yet.
Okay. These guys don't look super capable, I guess is how it. So as far as your assessment of them, you're not too concerned about their capability of taking you down or hurting you very much beyond just their numbers. That hits for sure. It's a crit.
Sweet. Oh, yeah.
You're using Vulcan? Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy comes out from behind the tree, you unsheath or take Vulcan off of your back and go charging towards him, already just nostrils flaring in a rage, and just go in a wild swing, carving between his neck and his, or over the neck, basically, between his head and his shoulder. Go ahead and roll the damage.
That's what I figured.
Not even unconscious, literally bisects him straight through the shoulder, all the way down to like through the upper arm, and that whole chunk, basically, head and left arm, just slough off to the ground, the body falls to the other side. He had like 12 HP and you did 31, so it wasn't even unconscious, it was instant death.
Sweet. Okay.
Your extra attack?
Yeah, I'm going to... I still have a couple more, actually like 15 more feet of movement, because I think I have 40, so
yeah.
I'm going to move over to number 3 over there.
Okay.
Whack him with an extra attack.
Oh, Justin, you can, I forgot to tell you this. In Fantasy Grounds, the very top right corner, you'll see a little sword button. Do you see that?
Yep.
That's the combat tracker. Click that, and it'll give you, it won't give you a lot of information, but you'll get to see like the turn order and everything there. So basically, you'd kind of be using that plus the map to see what's going on. And you'll see like if things are wounded or that kind of stuff, so. That attack just went wide. So you basically cut through the first guy and then spun around and tried to make kind of an upper swing towards the other guy, and it's a little halfling, it just goes right over his head.
Okay. And I already bonused, so that is it for me.
Okay. Then it is the one that's on the roof sees you kind of cut one of his friends in half. And is already a little bit panicked. Like this, it's clear that these guys aren't very used to this. This must be something new to them.
Can we also remember that halflings weigh about 40 pounds?
Yeah, they're just little guys, so they're not real big. But this one up on the roof, you know what? After seeing his friend cut in half, I'm gonna have him make a wisdom save to see if he's still in a fighting mood. No, he's okay. It clearly shook him, it seems like, but he's still going to take a shot at his nearest target's Arteme. He's going to shoot towards Arteme for 22, which hits. Fox, you took 5 damage total from a bolt that sings down from the ceiling there and sinks into your right shoulder. That is it for his turn.
Okay.
3, who is still alive and just ducked under Norok's swing, is going to try to poke. He's got just a little short sword. He's going to try to poke Norok in the knee and then try to run. Which he misses, so nothing there. He is going to turn and try to flee, so you're going to get an opportunity attack, G.
Okay.
If you want to spend your reaction.
Damn it.
No, it actually still hit. His AC
cool.
His AC is 12, so it still hit.
Oh yeah, I got that +9 now, so I'm actually good modifier on there.
With Vulcan, yeah.
See ya. I didn't even use Great Weapon on him.
Well, I mean, he's unconscious anyways, so maybe it was a one-handed swing. He's not dead, just knocked unconscious, but you kind of carve a big chunk out of his back, just a wide open wound down his back as he tries to turn and run, and he collapses forward on his face next to the tree. Bandit 1, he's already down. 13, where's 13 at? Oh, he's the one that threw the net. He is going to hop down off of the roof, so he'll have to make that. Okay. Hops down and is going to try to run at Arteme, and he's not trying to attack, but he's going to try to grab the bag off of your shoulder. Specifically the bag of holding, the same one that the owlbears are trying to steal. So Fox, if you would give me you can use, it's up to you, either dexterity to try to loop your wrist around it or try to hold into it, or strength to just kind of, tug of war with the bag, up to you. Strength save or dex save.
Dex would probably be better. No,
He rolled
either
a 19
or
plus
is
1, so he got a 20. You got a 19 plus 1, so whichever one's going to be better for you, and hope you roll high. This is
they're
a
both the
roll.
same and they're both crap.
That will not do it. With just the surprise of all this happening, once you're getting smacked in the side of the head by this, by the magic missile, and then an arrow sinking or a bolt sinking into your shoulder, you're just surprised by this halfling hopping down in front of you and yanking the bag off of your shoulder and starting to run.
Can I smack him?
Yeah, I
with
mean you're
my
going to get an
shillelagh?
opportunity attack. He's going to run, but you're going to get an opportunity attack. So go ahead. So Bandit 13.
Yeah, let me just find my shillelagh.
Sure.
And I pick up my bag.
All right. You just okay. He grabs it off your shoulder and starts to run. You just kind of wide swing baseball bat style, take your shillelagh and crack him across the back of the head. He goes falling forward, knocked unconscious. Bag still kind of in his hand. You just step over there and pick it back up off the ground.
Okay, I pick it up and I make sure it's securely tied.
Okay. All right. You throw it over your shoulder and kind of tie it around your waist this time so it can't come off so easily. Sarah's turn. Your hand is still glowing with the black shadow knife. What are you doing?
Is it shaded in here since we're in the trees?
That's fair. Yeah, I'd say it is. I mean, you're under. I would say that you right now are, and you see the kind of black areas that are around the trees. Justin, generally for overview maps like this, you see those kind of weird white splotches along the map with the dark areas around them.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
So those are the trunks of trees, because of course, if being an overview map, you guys are well, everybody would be under the canopy of the tree, and the surrounding area is the shadow of the leaves. Does that make sense? Do you understand what you're seeing there?
Yep.
Okay. So basically, for Sarah's question there, she's in the shadow, or she's in the shade of the tree, which is important for some of her abilities. And yes, so Becky, you are in the shade as long as you stay within those kind of darkened areas around the trees.
All right.
Or inside the house. It definitely hits. You throw a kind of beam of this shadowy energy at the little bitch on the ceiling there, or the roof there. It hits. Okay, good. Hang on, I gotta roll something for her. Nope. Okay, we're fine. Any bonus actions?
No.
All right, it is Artemis' turn. You have picked your bag up off of the floor. You just saw a line of shadow kind of streak over your right shoulder and crash into the halfling woman up on the roof there. You do notice, by the way, she no longer looks like a little human girl. She looks like a rough-living halfling woman.
Okay, so there's still two of them on the roof?
Yeah. Well, the other one jumped down and you knocked him out. The other one is still standing on the edge of the roof and looks like he's readying another bolt to try to fire at you. And then
Okay,
there's one still inside, along with Samson. And then the caster woman on the roof.
I'm gonna cast Shadow Knife.
Ice knife, you mean?
Yeah, Ice Knife, sorry. And I accidentally cast it out. No. I was careful with that order.
Yeah. Too bad Becky wasn't so careful.
Yeah.
Cost her an arm.
I accidentally put it on me instead. So I'm gonna retry this.
Okay. Where is it? Did you... Oh, yeah, you just casted it yourself. Okay, cool.
Okay, there we go.
He failed. He got a 7. And actually, what's the range of the shrapnel on Ice Knife? Would you do me a favor, Fox? Would you read me? Well, never mind. Your voice hurts. I'll read it real quick. Let me find it. Just so that
5
Justin
feet.
understands what's going on. It's 5 feet.
Yeah, 5 feet.
Alright. You create a shard of ice and fling it at one creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. Target takes 1d10, hit or miss, the shard then explodes, and each target within 5 feet of the point where the ice exploded must succeed on a dex save or take 2d6 cold damage. I'll get to that in just a second, Justin. The combat is... It's it's a little bit hard to explain, but essentially, during one round, which is everybody takes one turn during a round, and during one round is a 6 second period of time, and then the next round would be the next 6 seconds, the next round would be the following 6 seconds, and so on. So what's actually occurring as each person is taking their turns through in the round is all of these things are actually happening at the same time within that same 6 seconds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what if you have a spell that has like a 1 minute cast time? Basically, you
has
can't
a-
use it in battle.
No, you still can. There are spells that have 1 minute cast times and long cast times like that. But yeah, it would basically be 10 rounds of you sitting there casting that spell.
So you would really just go for instantaneous spells.
Which most are.
Yeah, exactly. Almost all spells are one action or a bonus action to cast, which means it would basically you just cast it on your turn and it happens when you cast it.
Okay.
Like Ice Knife, Shadow, the ones that they've used so far. But there are occasions when something does take a 1 minute cast time, for example, that you might need to cast, rarely, in combat, let's say, and it would mean that for 1 minute, you would be preparing this spell. You can still move, you can still defend yourself, things like that, but you can't make other actions. You wouldn't be able to attack, for example.
Okay.
You would just have to keep preparing this spell. But that's very rare. Like, there aren't very many spells that have longer than one action or one bonus action cast time that you would want to use during combat.
Okay, so these would be more likely spells you'd use out of combat.
Yeah. Identify, for example, that might take you a while. Find Familiar takes an hour. You're not going to do that in combat. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Those are things
I'm looking at Minor Illusion, Mage Hands. Those take 1 minute.
Mage Hand takes a minute? No, it lasts a minute. That's different.
Oh, you're right.
Duration's a minute. So spells that have a duration of that, for a duration of something like, for example, when Arteme put up Spike Growth earlier, what's the duration on Spike Growth, Fox? Like a minute? It's a little while at least.
You're right. When I look here, it's casting time, 1 action, 1 minute duration.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's up to 10 minutes.
Okay, so 10 minutes. So some spells, though, can last a long time. So say, for example, that one was 1 minute, right? Then it would last for 10 rounds, and if the combat lasted 12 rounds, then it would drop before the end of the combat, things like that. Like certain charm spells might last for 1 minute and so on, which in a social encounter, 1 minute is a long time. In combat, or it isn't very long, rather, in a social encounter. 1 minute in combat, though, is very long time.
Okay.
Most combats usually only go like maybe 5 or 6 rounds. So, okay. Sorry, Fox. So you threw out an ice knife at the bandit, and it exploded and blasted still some of the shrapnel hitting Mira as well. She is still standing. Where is she? She's not quite bloodied yet. She's been hit a couple of times now. One with a shadow knife and one with the shrapnel of your ice knife. But otherwise, she looks to be intact. Any bonus actions or movement?
I'm gonna move it back.
Okay. It is Samson's turn. He's no longer trying to fight through spiky growth, so he can try to climb his way out without that. And successfully, Arteme, you can just barely see him from your angle. Maybe Sarah a little bit. See him climbing his way up out of it. Shit, he's going to actually be... Well, he's entering the range up, so he's able to pull his way up and is immediately, like, in being swung at by the bandit captain, who drops his crossbow and draws out a scimitar. But that was his action, so he doesn't have any bonus action, so that's it for his turn. In fact, actually, his captain is going to swing at him now. Oh, did I forget to put that on loop? I must have. Which hits. The captain is shouting what's going on out there. And it's Sai's turn. Oh, Sai is no longer restrained. What's Sai doing?
She's staying there. There's not much she can do considering it's on the roof.
Okay. Then Mira is gonna say, she's gonna yell, fuck all y'all, and she's gonna drop, this is, I need a dex save from, let's see, what's the radius? This is pretty huge. Sorry, it's gonna be a con save, and this is gonna be a particularly nasty one if you guys fail this save, so it's a 60-foot cone. From where she's at, it's gonna be, because she's up on the roof, it's gonna be a little bit wider. She can get, shit, she's gonna try to get, actually that corner is not gonna be able to get around Norok. It's gonna have to be Sai, Sarah, and Arteme, just because Norok is too far over. So give me con saves, you have to beat a 14. That is not good. Alright, so Sai makes it, and Sarah makes it, but Arteme is going to take the full blast of this, and this is going to be quite painful. 8d8, 38 damage, and Sarah takes half, Sai takes half, which is 14. Sai, alright, so Mira standing up on the rooftop there, holding the wand, she starts to spin it around in a circle like a tornado, and then she kind of leans her face forward, and you see this kind of, this breath just spread out over you of this kind of swirling tornado of cold that kind of rolls over all of you. Sai is crystallized as this breath is throwing over, and she's kind of blown backwards, and then she falls over, and then snaps out of existence. She's toast. Sai is Fox's or Artemis familiar. She's a little fox, little kitsune fox, and she
was a fox.
Was
a little fox.
She can be resummoned, but she's dead for right now. And Fox takes 38, which Fox is knocked unconscious as well. It is not your turn yet, Fox, so you don't have to make a death save. And Sarah takes half, which is not enough to knock her unconscious. So, that was Cone of Cold, by the way, so... Alright, Norok, you just saw a cold wind blow over Arteme, Sarah, and Sai, and both Arteme and Sai are knocked over, fall into the ground, and they're kind of frozen in place and not moving. Sarah appears to still be moving. What are you doing?
And,
as far as moving targets, you can't see the halfling woman. In fact, you might still have only known her as that little girl, but she basically disappeared out of range. You didn't see where. And then you know that Samson is fighting. You can hear the noise of fighting of inside the house.
okay. If I come out this way, can I see her now?
Yeah. As soon as you move around the corner, you can see the little girl, well, the halfling woman, is up on the roof now, and has just breathed out this cloud that went over them. And of course, Arteme is on the ground unconscious.
Then...
You got a little bit quiet. Did you move the mic up or something?
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Okay, it's only melee crap. Alright, well, I'm going to throw Vulcan at the Mira.
Okay. I guess you threw it at the owlbear, so this will be your second time throwing it. Alright, what's the throw work like?
It is... I think it's 6120, you know? And then range, and then...
It's not 6120. It is 20 feet,
40
feet, 2040.
2040, okay.
So
then
that's definitely, like, how far away? 35. So you're going to be at disadvantage for the throw. Unless you get closer. Okay. From where, if you ran a straight shot around there, you could make that to get within 20. Okay.
Yeah. I'll just say I just ran straight over instead of going around the body down there, so...
Okay. And you're going to huck your axe at her?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and make the attack. The thrown attack.
Okay.
One-handed.
One-handed.
The throw is always going to be one-handed. It deals extra 1d4 to lightning damage, and then it'll fly back to you. So, go ahead.
Yeah.
18 hits. So
okay.
The axe is as big as she is. I mean, she's clubbed in the head with the blunt end of this, the kind of hammer side of it, and with a pretty, well, not with that kind of damage. Go ahead and roll with a 1 on your damage roll. Go ahead and roll the lightning damage on a 2. Alright, so for a total of 14 more damage to her. She does look pretty heavily wounded. Where the hammer side of it clocked her in the head, immediately just a big contusion opens, and there's blood pouring down the side of her head. And the hammer, or axe, Vulcan, goes kind of flipping over her head, and then spins right back around and comes right back to your hand.
Okay. And... Nope, actually.
Okay. Down. Down. The only moving target you see is... You can't quite see the captain inside, but you do hear Samson fighting someone inside, and then the halfling woman on the roof.
Alright, so I'm going to step up to Arteme, and I'm going to use 2 things in my ring of healing surges, so she can use a hit die.
Okay. We did say you could do that while they're unconscious, right?
Yeah, that's what we did last time.
All right, cool. All right, so Fox, you can roll 2 hit dice. Wait, is it 1 or 2 that she gets to roll?
It's 1 hit dice, but if I use 2 surges, I get to do it as a bonus action for her.
Gotcha. Okay. So Fox, go ahead and roll 1 hit die.
So, do that, and then I'm throwing my shadow knife at
Mira.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know her name. You never asked. You guys never asked NPCs' names, but you already had inspiration. Why would you, right?
She attacked us. It's her fault.
Yeah.
All right. Fox, then, where you kind of your eyes snap open, you look over and see Sarah's hand on your shoulder as she's kind of shaking you awake. You are actually you rolled really well too, so you are conscious again. And Sarah, you fling with your right hand another beam of shadow at Mira, which hits her. Go ahead and roll the damage. She's okay. Where this one sinks into the same existing wound where you already kind of jabbed a previous shadow knife into her, and then the shadow disappears. She looks down and sees this kind of gaping wound in her shoulder, as well as or in her chest rather, as well as the bleeding wound in her head, and she looks like she's turning, like she's about to flee. Is that it for your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Arteme, you are still laying on the ground. You just woken up. You're still very chilly, of course, but see a very wounded Mira, or a very wounded halfling woman, as well as Sarah over your shoulder. What are you doing? You gonna stand up? Or are you gonna do it from the ground?
Yeah. I'm gonna stand up and then I'm gonna use the braided green lash.
Okay. Oh, to try to yank her off the roof?
Yes.
For a little halfling, that's brutal. She's within range. Go ahead.
I was trying to find the range.
I think it's 25 actually, which is exactly the distance that you're
I
at.
think so, but it doesn't say because it has a bit of a bonus range. But it doesn't say in the description.
The bonus range is the tongue inside of it that whips out, which is where the extra part is. So it's actually, whips are normally 10 feet, I think, and then the bonus range is 25. I think is what I made it as. So we'll just make it as 25. That's a fair distance. So.
Because I think my other one's 20 or something. How do I try casting it?
Well, you would just use it as the weapon at the top, although at the very top of your list. And it hits. So you whip out this braided green lash, and as soon as it's kind of at its extent, a kind of pink filament slips out of the end of it and wraps around her ankle, and it goes to pull her off of the roof. She has to make a DC 14 strength saving. Let's see here. Which she rolled a 16 minus 1 is 15. She barely succeeded. So she is not knocked prone, and you can't yank her. Actually, so it wraps around her ankle, and it's going to hurt her, but she was not pulled off of the roof. So go ahead and roll the damage for the attack, and then the braided lash damage as well. The lash bite. So the 1d6 plus 3, that's the attack. You already hit her with that, so roll the one to the right of, I know you don't use weapons very often, but the 1d6 plus 3 that's to the right of the braided green lash at the top. Drop that on her.
Oh, okay.
There you go. And then also, because the tongue hit her, the damage 1d4, that's actually would be added before the roll. Just roll a d4, and I'll throw it on her.
Sorry, which one's the D4 again?
The far right.
So the triangular one?
Yep. Little pyramid.
Okay.
Okay, she literally has 1 hit point left. So with that, she's down to 44. She had 45 total. Is that it for your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. It is Samson's turn. He is going to keep fighting with the. You hear a booming sound of like a vacuum explode inside. And there's a flash of light that kind of appears from inside the building there. Norok, you're close enough to see it. You actually block most of it, as a shadow. As you cast Sacred Flame and blast the captain with it, and then he is going to swing as well. go. You hear the captain kind of arguing or grumbling and shouting as they're kind of swinging back and forth as steel is hitting him. He actually missed. And it is Mira's turn. She is... Oh, shit. She had a spell I meant to use and I forgot, so... yeah, she's gonna have to. She pulls a sprinkling of some thin dust out of her pocket and kind of sprinkles it over her head and begins to fade out of visibility. She is gone. Nork's turn.
Damn it.
You do hear clop, 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 clop of someone running along the roof.
Okay. Well, I would have.
It's like for you guys, it's fine that you know this, but your characters wouldn't know. But it was greater invisibility that she casted.
Yeah, but since I'm close enough, I heard little feet running along the roof.
Yeah. There's a pit right there. So as soon as you come in through the door, as soon as you get here, there's a giant hole in the floor.
All right. Can I hop over it, or is that body gonna be in the way?
No, the body's on the roof. Let me.
Oh yeah.
Let me get in mask mode real quick, and I'll reveal the rest of the inside for you. It is pretty well collapsed and destroyed. By now, you can see that this place has been collapsed for a very long time. This was not a recent thing. This is probably just some building that these bandits found, already destroyed, and made just a concocted story to try to steal your stuff.
Cool. All right, can I hop here then?
You can try. Give me an acrobatics check.
All right.
You know what? Just a regular. You're just trying to jump. Make an athletics. So you can do athletics.
Seriously?
I mean, it wasn't far. It wasn't going to be a hard.
Okay.
You needed to beat a 10. It was an easy jump for you.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Sweet.
a giant pit. I mean, you're proficient at jumping. So.
My head would have been hanging out of it if I fell in anyway. I'd just be looking at his feet.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so you hop over to the edge, over next to Samson. In fact, actually, your momentum is hard to kind of stop yourself without crashing into Samson. But you are next to the captain and Samson. Now, what are you doing?
Okay.
You do have enough movement to continue moving if you need to kind of spin around him.
Actually, good idea.
Justin, you holding in there? Any questions?
No, seems pretty basic so far.
Okay.
All right, and I'm gonna bash on the captain over here.
Okay. The captain is about bloodied. He's about halfway.
Okay.
Taking a great weapon?
Yeah.
You just switched back to two-handed, right? Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. All right.
And if it hits, I'll add my tribal fury on it.
Okay.
Seriously?
Take any chances? Oh, with that roll, it's not going to work. You dropped a 1,
Damn it.
you had a 3, and a 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You kind of... The momentum of you spinning around him was enough to throw off your balance a little bit, and your swing was just enough to go straight over his head. You actually would have had flanking advantage, too, which would have been a total of +9, which still wouldn't have hit, so...
Yeah, so, I didn't think it would... I don't think it would matter much.
Okay, you gonna make your second swing?
Try a second.
Yeah, no,
Just miss.
Yeah, still misses. His AC, let's see. Get his actions tab up. Yeah, his AC is quite a bit higher. Yeah, this one, you actually do hit him, but it just kind of, it's such a, your first swing was so off that your balance was not there, and you didn't have enough power behind this one, so the blade of your axe kind of spins off of the padded armor over his back, and it cuts a hole through the padded armor, but it's not enough to hurt him. It doesn't bite flesh.
Okay.
Alright, and it'll be back around to Sarah's turn.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and remove the bandits. You guys know where the bodies are, but I'm gonna remove the bandits off here.
All right, quick question.
Yep.
For slow, it just says 6 creatures of my choice within a 40-foot cube. I don't have
Are
to
you gonna
see
try to
them.
say if you can see her or not? That is...
Well, no, I want to
let's
be able to
see.
hit the captain and her.
Well, she's... You don't
if
know where
she's
she is.
within a 40-foot cube.
Alright, let me see. Let me do a little Googling here. That's pretty tenuous at best, but I like the attempt, so let's see. Can I cast slow on a target I can't see?
Well, it says it has to be a 40-foot cube.
Yeah. Somebody specifically asked this question. It says, Sorcerer was stalking a guy he wanted to kill. In the middle of the city, Sorcerer waited for an opportune moment to strike. Guy cast invisibility on himself. Sorcerer didn't want to take him, or didn't want to lose him, so he decided to cast slow. The response was, once you're aware of an invisible creature, provided they're not hidden, you know where it is because they're still making noise, kicking dust, blah, 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 but you can't in general see them. It does not specify you have to be able to see it. You have... Since it does not say that you can see qualifier, you can discriminate between targets that, as long as you know within the area. So as long as you casted it within an area, basically you choose the area, and if she's in it, it works.
Okay, well, I want to make sure the captain's in it,
Okay.
and then...
And it's a 40-foot cube, right? So upwards too?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just stick him dead center and just 40 feet around him.
Alright.
So.
Do I have a token for slow? I do not. I'll need to make one. Let me make a note of that, actually.
Alright, now, I don't know how to target her since I can't see her on the...
You go ahead and draw me a 40-foot... Well, okay. I mean, 40 feet is huge. It's going to cover more than the house. 40 feet... A 40-foot radius? Or 40-foot 40-foot diameter, right?
It says a 40-foot cube within range.
Yeah, so it'll 40 feet on each side. So you could cover it like that. Is that what you're aiming for, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. You still heard... I mean, she actually... Since we're on a new round, she just basically finished her movement, but you were still hearing click-clop across the roof of very small feet. So presumably, she was still on the roof when you did that. You covered that area. Go ahead and... where... You know what? I'll use it from your sheet here to apply an effect, let's say. But you were trying to get the captain in there as well, right?
Yeah.
Alright, go ahead and drop it on the captain for me, if you would. Oh, shit, there's a save.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. DC 14, and what is it? Wisdom, okay. I see. Now I realize what you were asking. Let's say that were she within the range of it, she would not have succeeded.
Okay.
She is hit by it as well.
Alright, so, did he save?
He got a 22. He got a natural 20, actually, so yeah, he succeeded.
Yikes. Alright,
So does this hit the good player as well, like Norak?
Normally, yes. Most spells would in this particular case, if they touched an area, but Becky, go ahead and read that first part again, if you would.
it says you alter time around you to hit up to 6 creatures of your choice in a 40-foot cube.
Got it.
Yeah, so she got to pick which one she was aiming for. She knew Mira, she knew the halfling woman, had seen her face and so on, and kind of chose her as well as the captain. Unfortunately, the captain shrugged it off, but I'll just go ahead and tell you that Mira was hit by it as well. And that's a slow spell, so as you can imagine, you know, from most RPGs and so on, means that her speed is slower. She can't run as fast, of course. She can't use as many actions as she otherwise would. Disadvantage on dexterity saves, things like that, as well as her AC being reduced because she's not as agile. But she's still invisible, so it doesn't make her visible. It is Artemis' turn, with Shillelagh still up.
Okay. I'm gonna move here.
Okay. You run up to the steps to the entrance of the house there and see a big hole in the floor, where you look down into the hole and see some haphazard wooden plates that had been laying there previously that Samson fell through.
I'm gonna smack the captain and probably.
So, Justin, remember what I told you that the reason they were called natural ones was because Fox always rolls so awful?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another example of it right there. We were watching one of the fights from earlier on, Ilishara, and Fox had like a couple of natural ones in there, if I remember right. So, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Any bonus actions, Fox?
Sadly, no. I don't think I have any attacks as bonus actions either.
Well, you guys, I think I told you this too, but you guys will be, well, if let's say that you finish the kind of mission that Pepperjack has sent you guys out on, and you'll be leveling to 6. So you're not too far, presumably, as long as you don't die, from getting to level 6, and you can change out spells or whatever you want to do.
Oh, I have more spells. I could prepare an extra spell. I have not been adding spells because I keep counting the ones I have stars on, even though I shouldn't be.
Oh, you have what, 8 preparable, right?
Yeah, I think
It's druid level plus your druid modifier, so it'd be 5 plus 3.
it's
Yeah, so 8.
wisdom.
Yeah, it's wisdom modifier, which is 3, and your druid level, which is 5, so 8. So make sure that you have 8 plus anything that has stars on it. So don't count the stars. And you can go ahead and add them right now, I don't mind. So, you know, if you only had 6 prepared or whatever, go ahead and put out whatever you want on there. Is that it for your turn, though?
Yeah.
Alright, Samson is going to continue swinging away at this guy here. With his greatsword. He'll have +2 because of Norok, which hits. That's it for his turn. It is the captain's turn. The captain is seeing everything has gone to shit, is going to turn, and he's going to run towards this tree. When you look this way, Norok, you saw this when you came in the building as well. The tree has collapsed in through the corner of this building, and there is no roof there. He's rushing towards it. He looks like he might try to jump up on it and then, you know, run out through what would be the roof through this, but you're going to get an opportunity attack.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay.
Real quick, did you say someone's name in this game is Pepperjack?
Yeah,
Like the cheese?
exactly like the cheese.
Okay, just want to make sure.
He's
I thought I was just getting hungry.
Ben, are you AFK or something, G?
Oh, I'm coming back. I was just going to the bathroom.
Okay. Pepperjack is the commander of the military group that is trying to defend those refugees I was telling you about. The name specifically is because he's one of the first few to use black powder in a military sense. Do you know what a sapper is? A military sapper?
No.
Somebody that makes bombs, explosives expert, that kind of thing.
Got it.
Seriously?
What is with your roll?
I don't know, man.
Go ahead and make your other shot. His name.
It's just opportunity attack.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So then, in that case, he's going to make his full movement. So 5, 10. He can make it to here. There. That is it for his turn. Shit, at half speed. Okay. Sarah, you hear a thump, and it's coming from almost straight north of you. And then it's a thump, and then a groaning sound, like she's groaning, the woman, or the little halfling woman, and then it's scurrying off towards the woods here at a reduced pace. Very reduced pace.
Taking off like straight ahead of me or diagonal?
Straight north of you. In fact, I'll draw you the sound. You heard the sound, the thump and the groan, come from around here.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the circle. I just wanted to show you the region. All right. It is Norik's turn. I'll explain
All right, well.
later on, Justin. There's a reason he's called that. It's a nickname.
Okay.
It's not his real name.
Is it because he likes grilled cheese?
Can you make it? Yeah, I suppose you can. Yeah. All right. It's basically.
I'm assuming I can.
anyways.
Climb up it, yeah, if you can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna whack him in the back.
Okay. See if you can actually hit this time.
Hopefully. Yeah,
You
hopefully.
cleaved one dude in half, and you've been kind of useless ever since.
Well, I killed the other guy too.
Yeah, but it was, regular swings.
Yes!
That hits.
Finally.
Nose is all stuffed up.
It's all that coke.
Yep. All the horrors in the coke.
Becky's got a coke now.
Huh?
What? I do not! It's a long ass pinky nail. It is not a coke nail.
It looks like a
Same
coke
thing.
That was cool.
Potato, potato.
That is a devastating swing, carves through his hip, and he's hobbling still hobbling forward. He's still alive, but not for much longer with a hit like that. So it's just pouring blood out of his hip. That hits as well. See if you can
Yay.
finish him off. Just
Yeah.
barely. That is enough. you kind of swing back at the same spot again and take off the leg at the hip there, and where a little halfling leg isn't super impressive, sure, but he kind of collapses forward and is just pouring, like he's looking down where his leg is now missing as it's just bleeding all over this tree stump, and his eyes begin to fade. He goes unconscious. That is it. It is Sarah's turn. It is up to you, Becky. Are you trying to pursue? You heard that sound north of you. I mean, you potentially could. You know that your spell will still be affecting her, unless you can shrug it off. It'll still be affecting her for another minute, 54 seconds worth.
And the area of effect.
I am...
It's an area effect, but once it's applied to a person, even if they get out of the area, they're still affected by it. Justin.
Oh, I was just trying to whisper area of effect in case she had a spell that could
Oh, I gotcha.
get that 1 HP off. Area of effect.
He's metagaming, dude. He's metagaming.
Yeah, he is.
Area of effect. The trees are whispering.
I already had a plan, so I'm going to drop slow,
Okay.
and I'm going to bring up Dragon's Breath.
All right. This is a risky move.
And I know it is.
Burn this
15-foot
forest down
cone.
around you.
Uh-oh. No.
And I'm going to use... Oh, God, which one do I want? Well, if she only has 1 HP... As far as I know, she only has 1 HP. I'm using acid.
Okay. Oh,
So-
okay. Not fire then. All right. So you're just going to burn these trees,
No.
not the whole forest.
Exactly.
All right, that
Now,
is a
I
very environmentally friendly,
believe
druid-like choice.
it's a dexterity saving throw, so do you want me to even hit cast?
Yeah, no,
Or-
you won't have a target. Go ahead and hit the cast on it, and I'll roll her save on my side. You know what? I'm just gonna. Okay, here I'm gonna reveal her, but Sarah can't operate on that knowledge of where she is. Okay, that way you can go ahead and target her.
Okay, so I guess. Okay.
She got a 19 plus 2 is 21. She succeeded.
Oh, shit. Didn't mean to hit that twice.
Yeah, she got a.
Okay,
she
so she takes half damage? Yeah, half damage.
Alright, just fucked anyway. Alright,
Yeah.
go ahead and roll it. Kill this poor little starving halfling woman.
And I...
That 2 1s.
She did, yeah, 2 ones.
Yeah, come on, yeah.
Natural
Jeez.
ones for
Wait,
a reason. They
don't
roll
I-
a lot of ones.
Well, at least you can
Not
look
a
through a
damage.
corpse now.
Oh, that's right. It's attack
Yeah,
rolls?
attacks, saves, and I think ability checks.
Yeah. Okay.
So you breathe out this cloud of noxious acid that just begins to melt away what the skin she had remaining that wasn't already wounded and bleeding, and she just collapses into a puddle of blood and acid on the floor here, the floor of the forest. The trees similarly pretty nastily burned as well, but beyond that you didn't kill the whole forest at least.
Yay.
All right, so you guys are in the becalmed woods now after having cut down an entire family of poor little halflings that were just hungry and just needed something to eat, and you decided to just murder them all, which is your guys' general go-to plan, unless they're
Tell Steph to stop stealing our bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop casting cone of cold. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, knocked out poor Artemis.
Samson kind of leans forward and Ben, I forgot to ask you about this at the beginning of the combat. What did you do with the bag? You had it thrown over your shoulder. Did you just drop it?
I would have dropped it where I was, so that would have been where that net was. So a few paces to the southwest.
All right.
Right
I
there.
would have set it down before I ran after that first bandit and cut him in half.
All right. I figured. I just wanted to make sure. All right. Then your rage begins to abate. You did not frenzy in that fight at all, did you?
No, I did not.
All right, so no exhaustion to be concerned with then. But your rage begins to calm. The forest is then quiet again. You're just surrounded by the bodies of these little halflings. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to search her pockets.
Okay.
I'll check the captain since I'm up there still.
Sure.
See if he has anything worth taking before I hop down.
Both of you roll a d20 for me. Let me get the table. Did I forget to grab the tables? I did. Here it is.
Ew.
It's a table, so I don't really know if that high or low matters.
No,
Sure.
yeah, the low and high doesn't matter on a table. Sarah, you pull out of her pockets. One, she had a little twisted twig, it's you're the same height as she is. You're a halfling as well, but a short kind of twisted branch that as you pick it up doesn't feel like it has any charge to it. Which is a little bit strange to you, only because she was using it as if it was a focus of some kind, You saw her try to use it multiple times, but it didn't. Like, you pick it up and it doesn't seem like there's anything to it. It feels like it's just a twig. But for some reason, she seemed to think it was useful. But in her pockets, roll a d4 for me too, Sarah. Okay. In her pockets, you find 4 translucent light green stones that look to be probably pretty valuable. You do recognize them as jades, especially from being noble-born. You would know that they're jades. Do you want them in the party inventory, or do you guys want to throw them in the bag of holding? What are you gonna do?
Party inventory is fine.
Okay. I can just drop them on yours.
Although,
doesn't matter.
you know what? Sarah will give one to Arteme, one to Norok, and then she will keep 2 for herself.
All right.
Whatever.
All right. You guys, I'll put them in the party
You
inventory
guys
for now.
don't
You guys
know.
can divvy them up. She just pockets 1, and then says, "Oh, I found 3 jade gemstones."
Exactly.
Otherwise, though, she has they. I didn't give you too much detail on this, but they looked emaciated. They all look pretty hungry. Samson is kind of grumbling and growling at this point, and he kind of follows up towards Norok to try to climb out this way because he doesn't want to try to jump over the pit there. And he's murmuring a lot of racist small folk type things. He looks beleaguered and angry as he's making his way up there and kind of trying to help Norok, up this with this now slick with blood branch. What is Arteme doing? Oh, I closed that table. Sorry. Hang on.
Is there anything like in the house?
There, nothing of value. It is largely destroyed. It's been here for a long time. As you noticed earlier, this is something that Arteme noticed. That in fact, the thing that I was telling Justin about how certain players might notice things while other characters don't. Arteme noticed that this house looked like it had been collapsed a long time ago, not within the last few days. Certainly not most recently enough that a little girl would be trying to protect her mother here. Ben, on the bandit there, he had a backpack, like a knapsack thrown over his shoulder, and inside, as you're digging through it, there's a box that has multiple small carved figurines inside of it. There's a couple of lions, or at least cat-shaped figurines. Basically a zoo of small carved turquoise animals inside there, an art item that you guys could potentially sell. It looks pretty valuable.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pick it up and throw it, I guess, in the bag of holding or whatever, whenever I get back to whoever has it. Not sure which one of the little guys.
Artemis carrying it right now.
Yeah, when we get back together.
Then. Again, and then she picked it back up, so...
Then, I'll hop down, carry it around.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Which, by the way, at least Sarah recognized the similarity in the means that that little halfling woman casted that sleep spell on you guys. That I would say that Sarah recognized that. She because it was directly at her, essentially. She recognized that sounded the same as the one that had been cast on you the night before. So do with that what you may. Fox, I interrupted you. Sorry, what is Arteme doing? Beyond looking around just to see if anything was useful.
I was gonna go check the bodies.
Okay. The halflings themselves, give me a d20 roll for Fox.
Okay.
Question: the night before, did it sound like the song was coming from the baby owlbears?
No.
Or did I just hear it in general?
It was coming from behind you. It was away, just outside of the camp, basically, outside of the firelight. All right, an 8. Then, amongst the pockets of the remaining halflings that you found there is 30 gold and 12 silver.
Money.
Okay.
So just amongst their pockets and so on. So I'll drop that in the party as well. So there you are, and 14 silver total. There you go.
Why didn't they go into town and buy something to eat then?
I know, right? Couldn't have been that broke.
Okay, well, we all know it's going to Norok and Sarah anyway, because I don't get any gold until I pay them back.
I was curious if you remembered that. 'Cause, so a while back, in fact, actually, now might be the time that you may need to recast that anyways. Arteme basically had to borrow a bunch of money from Norok and Sarah to keep her pet, Sai, from dying. So.
Aw. Fucking vet fees.
Yeah, pretty much.
Get some pet insurance.
I have pet insurance on my dogs. All right. But yeah, around the house, you guys don't see much else. I mean, the stuff that was on their pockets, it's clear that these guys weren't living here. That there's no bags or anything of that sort. There's no sleeping bags or anything. You know what? Okay, so Sarah knows this. Whether or not she's communicated to the party is up to you guys. But Sarah knows, or at least recognizes it, because that was the same voice. They were probably following you guys and trying to find a good way to trap you. And it didn't work when they tried at the camp. And the reason it didn't work at the camp was because of the blood that was on the bag. It had attracted those owlbears instead. Otherwise, they would have attacked you then. So, but you've wiped them out, so they're no longer following you, unless there are more.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, but honestly, Samson grumbling about that. It's like, we tried to warn him. I told him to take a closer look at the house. He said no time and ran into the...
He did.
He's just mad that he got shot with a crossbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fell in a trap, and then got swung at by the captain.
Can Sarah hear him?
He's outside of earshot, so you've noticed this a couple of times, that he confides in Norok more. You notice, like, especially when he falls back when you guys were marching here, he would fall back from the group, and when they were taking turns passing that heavy bag back and forth, that he would talk to Norok a little bit, and despite Norok not being human, maybe there's a certain kinship that he at least feels like Norok is the most similar to him, because he doesn't really like elves, even though he's kind of found a somewhat common ground with Arteme, and he does not like halflings.
Son of a bitch.
So he's
Racist.
basically a racist human. Gotcha.
Well, for sure. I mean, that was. I told you that like the first time you met him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You picked that up the first time you met him, Fox.
Is it because his
Yeah.
backstory, his ex-wife ran away with a halfling, and she said it's because he had a bigger penis than him, and now he's just super mad all the time?
And that halfling's name was right.
Poga?
That's how you introduce into the story. I
Poga
like
something.
it. I like it.
Yeah, he doesn't have a last name though.
Oh, what is this?
That is a big bramble patch of where the building had fallen through. There's no roof in there, and just like bramble bushes have grown up through it. That was actually the reason that Arteme noticed that the house looked like it had been collapsed too long, or much longer. Like there's no way that would have grown up within the span of 3 days, like the little girl was describing. But Samson still grumbling. Has helped Norok grab that. Kind of makes his way back over here, and he says, "I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna try to step back through that, Arteme. I'm just trying not to fall this
Right.
time."
Back.
I mean, he can grab the corner basically and sidle his way through to get out. He looks back. He says, "Norok, you ready to go, big guy?"
Yeah.
He turns this way and he says, there's Arteme and Sarah, both of you see his jaw drop, and he realizes that basically the bag was left over here, and rushes over towards it and turns back at you, and he looks furious. He doesn't say anything. He just grabs the bag and throws it over his shoulder and looks very angry. All right. What are you guys doing? He's like beginning to continue to march off towards the town.
Follow him, I guess.
I guess I'm hopping back on my broom.
Okay. Then you guys, where did it go? There we are. Okay. Oh.
So
Okay.
I'll run up to Samson as he's walking and be like, "I didn't want to catch up, George. You can have to catch up, George. I'm sorry, George."
like in a mocking tone? Are you like making fun of him?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not actually going to do that, but I will start carrying on though. So if we start moving, I'll go.
Yeah, he's.
No, that's fine, but
Okay.
I'm going to keep going because obviously we need him, so we can't let him get killed. So I'm going to start going and find him.
Then you guys start heading down the slope towards the town. As you're coming down the slope, the trees begin to thin out and so on towards Cadogan. They're thinning enough that you can see for miles out over the nearby bay of the Caliador in here in the sea. Oh shit! I actually had a region map. Let me grab that for you guys. It's still not great, but better than I usually am able to pull off when it comes to artistic talent. But let me get that loaded up for you guys, so you guys will have a better idea of how the region looks.
For the Divine Familiar, can I cast it while...
Can you what? Oh, while walking? It's a ritual, so no. I would normally, like for most spells, yes, but specifically a ritual. If you were in any kind of like a wagon or something, then definitely, but I think while walking, probably not.
Okay, so that's the first thing I'm doing when we set up camp.
Okay. It is by the oh, I forgot to give you guys the date and the time at the beginning of the day here, so I'll drop that on you in just a second. Visual aids. Here you go. Alright, I'm going to show you guys the region map here. Okay, now what you're looking at, I didn't mark I hadn't finished it yet, so I didn't mark what the individual places all are, so I'll give you some quick notes on here. That circle, you guys see that circle here, the red one?
Yep.
That's Dunskathak.
Yeah.
That's where you guys came from, that's Dunskathak. Justin, you're back then?
Yep, I'm back.
Alright, and this is Cadogan here, this other circle that just appeared on the left side. So that's the town you guys were heading to. That's the walk that you just took over the last 2 days, basically. Up to the northwest is Dunweir, that's another town. Morvok is in the southeast. So where you guys got the Miotau to help you is down there. That's Morvok in the southeast. And then the big sea on the left side is the Caliodoran Sea. That's where you guys are heading. So now you guys at least have a general region map. It's still not great, but it's better than the description I've given you so far. So, all right. But now that you guys are kind of getting out of the tree line towards the town, down this slope, you can see for miles out over the bay. Far to the southwest, like your left basically, you see a pretty ominous sight though. There is a blockade line of Vabian ships that are stretching as far as the horizon that are preventing any foreign vessels from coming or going into Vabi in the south. But out in the bay around Cadogan itself, you can see several small fishing vessels that are out in the bay. From what you can see, though, that there doesn't appear to be any other ships except for one at the Cadogan port that's large enough to be seaworthy. There's a lot of small vessels, like I said, fishing vessels and things like that, but you guys need a big enough ship to be able to go out, to be seaworthy, to be able to go out to look for the Emperor of the Waves, which is the ship you guys need to find, right? Samson, still very angry, is murmuring and seems to be in worse spirits now at this point. One, that you left the bag behind, Norok, and two, that you basically have this one shot with this ship that's at dock in Cadogan without having to wait. Like other ships may come in later, but you don't really have the time to wait. So, but as you make your way down down the way towards this kind of melancholic town, the environment is obviously very tense as you start kind of getting into this little village or this little town here. The population, of course, as you were already somewhat aware, is mostly halflings with some humans. Usually halflings are pretty happy folk, but the ones at least on the street seem to be pretty tense and jumpy and nervous. The four of you with Samson get leering looks from practically everybody you see, like they, wondering if you guys are emissaries of the war or something of that sort. But Samson smirks. He says, "These little fools think we mean them harm." And he kind of catches himself and he looks at Sarah. He says, "I mean, no offense intended, though, lady."
Oh, all the offense taken, but that's okay.
You say that to him?
Yep.
You had enough of this shit?
Yep.
All right. He kind of just frowns. Still carrying the bag. He just looks away from you, looks up at Norok. He says, "I'll see about finding the captain of that ship there. Just meet me in the docks in a couple hours' time."
All right, we can do that.
He starts trudging off. He says, "And while you're at it, though, try not to upset these small-minded fish folk." And he kind of looks down at Sarah.
Flip him the bird, just to walk away.
With your existing hand, or with your mage hand, with your fake hand?
The existing hand.
All right. He begins this kind of awkward walk down the main avenue towards the docks with lugging that giant clinking bag over his shoulder. So you guys are on the main avenue of this little port town, surrounded by very nervous halflings. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to I'm gonna go sit by the water, resummon Sai, and watch for any animals so I could study them.
Okay. The main avenue is kind of a downward slope. You guys are, this whole town is built into a hill, basically, that leads down to where the docks are, where it's seaside. So it's basically a kind of a downward elevation slope heading that way, and you have to kind of go down the main avenue. So, you guys can all go along, but it's up to you where you guys are heading. But going down the main avenue, there are multiple shops on either side. if you're looking for anything in particular. Give me...
I'm also looking for a herb shop, or did I find any real foil on the way? So I'll also be looking at that.
Give me a perception check. You know what? Never mind. It's going to be below your passive level, anyways. If you're actually looking for shops, then this would certainly be below your passive perception. Along the main avenue, it's halfway down to the docks, basically. You realize, by the way, as soon as you guys start following, or at least you start following behind Samson, that it's one of those situations where two people part ways, and then you end up going the same direction anyways. So you're just awkwardly walking behind him because he's walking kind of slow with that bag, anyways. But he's 15 feet ahead of you, and that's it. So, like, he's just angrily storming off very slowly with this big-ass heavy bag. But halfway down this slope towards the docks, you see this big kind of salt-crusted wooden sign that's swaying in the breeze here, and it depicts a mortar and pestle under a few stalks of herbs, which is a pretty universal sign for, an apothecary or an herb shop of some sort.
Okay, I go in and see what they have.
Okay. What are Norok and Sarah doing?
I'm going in the herb shop with Artemis.
Okay. G?
Me too, but maybe I'll probably have to roll a memory check or something. But something that might possibly be able to help Oboe. And again, if I don't remember myself, so Norak might have to roll a memory check, but whatever his ailment is, I might think, so.
What was his ailment? Did you ever tell me?
I'm not sure if we found out for sure. I don't even remember exactly what it was. I'm not sure if if Norak even found out for sure, but if he did, I don't remember what it was. So
Norak
I can't,
So.
Yeah, it seemed like he was poisoned somehow, though.
Well, diseased.
Right?
Yeah, diseased.
Diseased, okay. Seemed like he was diseased.
The wound is putrefying, and it was a gut wound, and it's bad. So, like, he's basically in a lot of pain anyways, and then in modern terms, it is infected and diseased, and he's basically, gangrenous in his stomach and is gonna die.
Yeah.
So you guys,
Okay, so I was supposed to use a spell on him before we left.
Not my fault. If you guys forget and let important NPCs die, that's on you.
Yeah, that is true. That is our own fault. So I will, from based off what I remember, like, I just noticed that his gut wound is not getting better, so I'm going to ask the shopkeep, based off that knowledge, if they can recommend anything.
That's fair. And that Samson did, the night before, actually the day before when you guys were walking, Samson did, offer to try to help Oboe for you. I just realized that that's going to be, oh shit. So
if he died, he was going to help Oboe.
Hang on. So I'm going to put this in the game chat here. Norok's Shaman, and then Pogo.
Oboe Pogo.
Yeah. So it's almost, what was that? Was that Beastmaster? With the little ferrets?
Yeah, the little ferrets, Oboe and Pogo or something like that, right?
Justin, do you know what
we're talking about? Or Pago and Pogo or something like that?
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
So
Beastmaster rules.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
there was this campy 80s movie called Beastmaster.
I know that, but I don't remember the names.
Okay, well, in that he had these little ferrets that were like his pets, because you know how he had like a panther and like a bird, and he had these little ferrets that were like thieves for him, like little pets. And I think they were Oboe and Pogo, I think, or maybe it was Ogo and Pogo or something like that. But there was there's been a
Kodo.
Kodo, okay, all right, it was close.
Kodo and Podo.
Okay, all right, close enough then. But Oboe has been a character in this campaign since the beginning of it, and you just happened to come along and name your character Pogo, which sounds a little bit. So anyway, Samson brought it up though the day before. I would say it's probably top of mind for Norok anyway, so no check needed on that, G.
Okay.
But you guys, in walking down here, Norok, you very quickly noticed that the houses are, all of the buildings along this way, this whole slope, are all kind of built in, like I said, kind of built sideways into the hill, right? The rooftops are not quite tall enough for your head to fit inside of. So
if I duck, can I make it? Okay.
You might be able to turn sideways and fit through the door, but as soon as you sit down inside, you're going to be taking up the whole place, because as Sarah and Artemis step inside of this building, they open the door, and Norok, you can kind of get this waft of smell coming from the inside, but it's a mix of smells as soon as they kind of enter the shop there, and it's kind of intoxicating and revolting and welcoming and terrible, like just all these rapid successions of different smells. There's just an olfactory overload. Your eyes kind of adjust to the dim light, and you can see countless bundles of drying herbs and plants and roots and shit hanging on the walls. And for Sarah and Artemis, there's an impossibly tiny old woman sitting atop this very short stool near the back of the shop. and she kind of crooks her head up to the side as if looking up might be painful for her, but she, very ancient and creaky but pleasant voice, she says, "Customers, are you?"
I just nod.
She's, description-wise, very old halfling woman, of course, silver hair down to her knees, crooked back. She kind of steps off of the stool, and it looks like it's painful for her, making her appear even shorter. Norok, you really, from through the door, you can just barely see, like, the top of her head almost. She's so small. But Sarah, though, you can see her face, and she's got severe cataracts over both eyes, giving this kind of cloudy look to them. She actually reminds you a little bit of your paternal grandmother, your father's mother, Gildy. She says, "I'm Osti, and this is my apothecary. I'll thank you to keep your hands to yourselves, dearies. My eyes may be going, but my ears are sharp, and my cane is solid." And she kind of grabs this short, knurled wooden stick, and then wraps it against the floor. And then she sets a bundle, this bundle of wheat that she'd been working on. She sets it down, and then kind of waddles over towards you. This is the name.
What was her name?
There you go.
I'm just gonna walk up to her and be like, "I'm Seraphina. I was wondering if you had any Void Root or Lord's Cross."
She kind of squints a little bit. She says, "Void Root and King's Cross, huh? Skin trouble, then? Spending too much time with lonely sailors, are ya?"
Not quite.
She kind of chuckles. She says, "I'm only kidding. I had my fun at the docks when I was a young lass too." She says, "Those particular plants, though, I mean, they're hard to come by." She says, "I have them, but they cost a pretty penny."
I look at her and say, real foil would work too.
She squints up at you, like you might be just outside the range that she's capable of seeing. Like you might just be blurry to her. She's squinting so hard. She says, "Real foil, I mean, I've got plenty of that, but I mean, it's a poor substitute for King's Cross."
How much is your King's Cross?
How much do you need, is the question.
I don't know. How much do I need?
That's a question for Arteme. Arteme, you're familiar with it, so I would say that you just describe to Osti how much you need, because Arteme actually knows these things. This is, Sarah.
Yeah, but if I don't know how much Sarah's lost of her arm, I wouldn't be able to definitely tell how much she needs. I'm estimating, because she's never said it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, no. The last time I told her, it was just below the elbow.
No, it was last time you told her it was like just past the wrist. You've lost her whole forearm since then.
Is that?
You're literally at the elbow now.
Yeah,
The
because
last time I told her was when I sewed the glove on.
Oh, did you back at Dunskathak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I told them everything then.
Okay. So then if you're not saying it out loud, Samson's not with you, Osti's the only NPC that's present. So if beyond telling that, as much as Arteme, as much as you think you need, you describe that to Osti, and she tells you for that amount, it's probably 15, 16 gold. But you're gonna, I mean, if you're trying to make a skin salve, you're gonna need them both.
How much is it for the Void Root?
And again, narratively, Arteme, you kind of describe how much of that you would need. That's another 15 gold. I mean, I'll
I would tack on a bit more just in case, like...
You mean buy extra?
Yeah, I'd buy a bit extra as a just in case, because things can go wrong, so I normally like being safe and sorry.
She says, "Well, dearies, I mean, I'll give you as much as I have, but you're gonna clean me out. I'm not gonna have any left. I mean, it's fine. I'll get some more on a shipment. But I don't have a lot to spare. I can't say I get too many people asking for it." What was the question, Sarah?
How much for what you have?
20 gold of each, 40 gold total.
I'll take it.
Do you even have the money to afford that?
I've got 2 platinum and 25 gold.
All right.
I'll share my.
Almost clean me out, but
Yeah,
I'll take
you
it.
got 5 gold. Well, 5 equivalent gold left. Okay. All right.
If I need to. I was just gonna say if I need to, I'll share my part of the half.
Okay.
I kind of go back to the door and ask Norok what he was looking for.
Okay. Sarah, you drop the coins on the counter. They're the gold, and the you leave yourself 5 gold to take the rest out.
Yeah.
Norok, Arteme asking you a question.
Yeah, and I will tell her that I'm looking for something to help Obo. He had that gut wound that doesn't seem like it's getting any better, like a stab wound that's not healing, and seems like it's sickening. So.
The old lady kind of steps very shufflingly off to one side, like it's painful for her to do so, so that Arteme and Sarah are not blocking her view anymore. And she kind of leans her head way off to one side, almost 90 degrees, trying to look up at you through the door. And you're already ducking down, of course, to be able to talk to Arteme, presumably. So she looks out at you. She says, "What? If I may ask? I mean, gut wound. What happened to your friend?"
I think he was, I don't know exactly, but he was stabbed in the stomach, and it's not getting any better, and the area around it's starting to look like the skin's dying.
She kind of tisks. She says, that's nasty business. Something to do with the war, I imagine?
It is, yes. Yes, ma'am.
She turns around and kind of shuffles her way back over towards the far wall, and she starts pulling things off of the counter, or off of the wall, rather, just some dried herbs that she has. Arteme, you recognize that she pulls off sage root and worm tongue, both plants that you're familiar with. They're not rare plants. In fact, they're stuff that you could find regularly. And as she pulls them off of the wall, she pulls off another one that are... Hang on, I gotta see which one it was again. I wrote it down, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
For touch spells, I could send Sai to use touch spells for me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send Sai with the... Yeah, well, I'm gonna resummon her once I get to the dock.
Okay.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send her back to Oboe. I'm gonna have her cast Lesser Restoration, and I'll have her, like, with a little note for the healers to give them the herbs.
You realize... Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. You can do that. She can make that distance, but you can only communicate with her for a span of 1 mile, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she knows the way back. She can make her whole way back there safely, presumably, as long as she doesn't get stomped by something, but she can make her way back to Dunskathak all by herself and do that. Casting through her, though, at that distance, I'm not sure is possible. Because you won't be able to see through her eyes or anything. You wouldn't know when to cast it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You could send her back with notes and herbs and things like that, and, you know, directions maybe for the healers there. You do know that the Red Candle Priest is still there, seeing over Oboe, but casting through her at that distance isn't going to really be feasible.
What about preparing the spell on her and then having her...
That's not how it works. You can't really...
No, okay.
Yeah, it's not something she can trigger. I like the idea, It's just not within the mechanics to be able to do it that way. It's a very creative thought, though, so I would actually give you inspiration, but you guys already have it because you didn't use it in that fight, so...
Okay, so I'm gonna try and write a note to see if the Candle Priest can cast it, although I don't know how he'd cast it without...
He doesn't have hands right now, so his ability to cast somatic components is minimal.
But this one isn't somatic. It's just touch.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, there's somatic, so like yes, it's just a touch spell, so technically he would be able to without... If he knows the spell.
So he the little old lady pulls off of the wall wild sage root, she pulls off worm tongue petals, and she pulls off another plant that you recognize as silver hibiscus. And as she turns around and comes back towards you, she's coming over to Arteme because she seems to get a sense that Arteme might recognize these things, or that that they keep both Norok and Sarah have referred to you for these questions of how to handle these things. So she kind of brings these to you, and she gives you a description of, you mix this, and then you need to boil this one for this amount of time until it does blah blah blah, and she gives you the recipe of how to prepare this. And she says, and once you've mixed this salve up, it needs to go into the wound. And it's going to be very painful, and you're going to need to tie them down. And if he's as big as that guy, and she kind of points a knurled finger up towards Norok, if she's as big as that guy, you're going to need to make sure those binds are really tight, because he's going to fight.
Okay. I'd ask for a bit of poppy and cannabis to...
Cannabis, okay.
Well, okay, because, poppy...
CBD oil, sure. Yeah, milk of the poppy, sure.
Yeah, so poppy is in a small, poppy and lavender tincture, so that would calm him down and put him to sleep, and the cannabis would help prevent part of the pain while the salve is being applied.
Okay. She kind of grins at you. She says, yeah, it was fun when I was younger, too. And she goes over to the side, over to the wall, and starts, pulling down the things you'd asked for. She says, I'm going to do as best as I can with this, especially since you're cleaning out my most expensive things. I mean, I don't usually see that kind of coin come in, in a week, let alone in a day or a single visit. So for the rest of these, none of these are all that expensive or hard to find. Give me another 5 and we'll call it square.
just look at Sarah.
Are you cleaned out? Does Artemis have no money?
Well, all my money is Sarah's and Norok's at the moment, so I am clean out. Yeah.
There
Okay,
was
so
the
it's-
party inventory money I didn't split out yet, so I can give that to you guys here. Let me see.
It's
There you go. I just dropped
additional
it in the party.
5.
Well, I just dropped in
Okay.
I split. Oh shit! I accidentally split it to the bag. So the bag has 9 gold. So let me take that back. It'll be an extra 3 for each of you. Each of you add 3 more gold to your inventories, and I'll take it off of the bag. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to with the new version, is that inventory will be a lot easier to handle. Justin, any questions about what's happening? You understand what's going on?
Yeah, so far I'm good.
Okay.
So it was an additional 5 gold.
An additional 3 gold for everybody, and 2 silver and 1 copper for each of you.
No, I meant for.
Oh, for the additional, yeah, for the extra herbs, yes.
Alright, I'll give her 5.
Okay. Make a perception check on Sarah.
Oh, I'm horrible at that.
You better roll well here. Okay. When you grab the coins out of your pocket and you reach over and start to drop them on the counter there, you notice that the other gold coins that you had already set aside, along with the 2 platinum that are sitting on the wooden counter, are jiggling.
Jiggling, like how jiggling? Like there's a vibration?
No, like they're made of jello. The coins that are sitting on the other coins, and in fact, as soon as you set those other gold, the little stack of the extra 5 that you set there, those begin to jiggle too. The platinum aren't, just the gold. Not all of them. In fact, the stack of 5, probably 2 in the middle of that, and another 8 amongst the other coins that you dropped on there. Not all the coins are jiggling, just those. Those 10 total coins are jiggling. The old lady hasn't noticed. She's talking to Artemis.
Wow. Shit. Alright, well, I know how I would do this, but how Sarah would do this is she would just thank her for her time and turn around and walk away as fast as she could.
Okay. Give me a quick memory check on Sarah. Do it with advantage, actually. Quick note too, Artemis, you were pretty wounded in the fight. Of course, you got knocked unconscious. You still have, both you and Sarah are pretty heavily wounded. Would you have, it took you an hour to get here. You could have, healed yourselves up if you chose to.
Oh yeah, probably.
Okay, did you just healing spirit and walk through it over and over again? Just keep moving in front of you?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll just delete it. I'll just mark off a spell slot.
I do actually have a question. What's a memory check?
So, if the character... So it's one thing if the players remember something, that's fine. But if the characters might not remember something, it would be a memory check to see whether or not they remember something that happened recently.
Is it just a d20 roll?
It's actually an intelligence check. Just a flat intelligence check.
Got it.
It's not something you can be proficient with. There are some feats that will give you memory. Keen Mind is one of them. So you will never forget. Basically, you automatically succeed on memory checks, essentially. But otherwise, in this particular case, this will make sense for you in just a second, Justin. Since you rolled so well, Sarah, the coins that are jiggling a little bit, you recognize the stamping on them. You know how, a coin, like if you find a dime, it has a specific stamp on it versus a quarter and so on. The stamping that are on these gold coins is very old. And the face on it stands out because it's different. It's a different stamping than the rest of the coins that you picked up from those bandits, for example. And those coins are ones that came out of the subterrane under Dunskathak, where the mimics were.
Oh. Yeah, she's still gonna leave. She's gonna walk away.
Okay. Artemis, you now, by now, because you're looking over the little woman's shoulders and see Sarah kind of eyes go wide looking at the counter, seeing these coins jiggle like jello, and then she turns and starts to walk. You see the coins jiggling. What are you doing?
I'd add a few coins and grab the ones to deal with later.
Grab the what to do? Sorry?
The jiggling ones to deal with later, because they're probably mimics if they're jiggling.
Okay. Alright, so you're picking up the coins that are jiggling?
Yeah, and replacing them with some that aren't jiggling.
Okay, do you have 10 gold? After I split out those coins?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you replace them with solid coins. Each one that you grab feels slightly sticky to the touch. They're a little bit hard to get off of your hands. Make a nature check on Arteme. Sarah, so brutal. You're gonna leave a little old lady to deal with this problem.
Yes. Yes, she would.
Not a memory check.
Wrong one.
A nature check. Yeah. Sure, huh?
I thought I was grabbing nature.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Normal.
Anyway.
Normally she wouldn't because she loves family, but she really needs those herbs, so.
Arteme, you don't know the specific nature around mimics, or shapeshifters in general, the Zarimir, for example. But you gather these are probably eggs. These are probably baby mimics' eggs.
Oh, maybe we could train them.
I mean, that's up to you. I guess what you want to try. So you've grabbed them now. What are you doing with them? They do
Putting
come
them
off
in
of
my
your
bag.
hand. You're just putting them in your regular bag or in the bag?
Yeah, my regular bag. Because if I put them in the bag of holding, I'd kill.
Yeah, which I mean, maybe that's not what you're wanting to do, but you know that I don't know. I guess it's up to you. So if you want to keep 10 baby mimics, you've got them now.
Well, I might not keep them all necessarily, but we'll see what we can do.
All right, so
They could come in handy.
You have 10 mimic eggs that are currently in the shape of gold coins. So go ahead and put that in your inventory if you want. But the little old lady very nicely gave you a very thorough recipe for how to prepare a certain salve that will hopefully, help Oba or at least ease his pain if you can get it to him in time. So you are about to, presumably, from what your guys' plan is, you're about to get to the docks here and get on a ship and be out at sea for at least a few days, maybe a week, and then you still have 2 days walk to get back to Dunskathek afterwards. So what is your plan?
My plan is to revive Sai, or bring her back, and then send her to Dunskathek and see if the Candle Priest can use Lesser Restoration.
Okay, so you're going back, summoning Sai, writing out a note to do all of this?
Yeah.
Okay. Find Familiar is 10 minutes, or is it an hour?
I think the first time was an hour. Let me find it.
Norak, the little lady, waved very politely to you, and she kind of blew you a kiss.
I'll wave back at her.
See, now you're just making me feel really bad.
So I even told you she looked like your grandma, and you're like, fuck her, let her die to these mimics.
Well, I really need those herbs.
Self-preservation.
I don't have a whole lot left.
It's 1 hour.
1 hour.
So I would go to the dock and do that while we're waiting, while I'm trying to see if I could find any creatures.
Okay. You make your way down to the docks. You don't see Samson at the moment. You don't know necessarily where he is, but it hasn't been the full 2 hours just yet. So, Sarah and Norak, you guys do anything else? You just head into the docks with Arteme?
I am going to find a quiet place to sit down and use Identify on that twig.
Okay. In the same. I mean, you just go down to the same spot, presumably. I mean, the docks are noisy, but it's about as quiet of a place as you can get since everybody's pretty tense and kind of nervous around here. Anyways, there isn't a lot of carousing. Okay, how about Norak?
Yeah, I'm just going to, I guess, just head over to the dock.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys all head down there then. Arteme, working on the ritual to resummon. You pull your book out and begin going over the process, pulling out the sensor and beginning to burn the herbs and stuff necessary to resummon Sai. You finish the ritual. As you're finishing it is about the same time that Sarah's finishing the identification ritual. But Sai kind of explodes in a little burst of green smoke, and she kind of yips and then spins around in a circle, chasing her tail for a second, then comes over and sits in your lap.
I pet her affectionately.
Okay. Sarah, you hold out the glass bauble and you pass it over the wand while you're holding the quill in the other hand to begin writing down the details. Give me an Arcana check.
Oh.
Well, it's a stick.
Right.
Yeah, it's a stick. It's a twig.
Yeah.
A broken piece of a twig.
Oh, thank God.
What was it, a 2? You gotta beat it as long as you're above a 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bauble did not break. You put it back in your bag, put the quill away carefully. But yeah, you got yourself a stick. That's it.
Right.
So
I'm
she
just
was
gonna look at
pretending.
I'm just gonna look at Artemis and be like, so do you want this? It's a stick.
Maybe Sai can play with it, play fetch.
She might want to.
Alright, but, I mean, if you guys are doing anything else in town, or you guys just killing time until Samson comes back?
Well, I divide some food up because we've been walking most of the day, so I divide a bit of food and drink to everybody, and then
Feed Sai?
grab, feed Zai, even though she doesn't actually have to eat, but she likes treats. And then ask her to run back to Obo with the herbs. I copied the recipe, so I have a copy of the recipe, and I put one in with a few instructions for the priest or a healer, and write down if any healer that has magic could cast Lesser Restoration on Obo dead.
Okay. Alright, you fill out the necessary letters, and do you have any kind of a scroll case or anything you can... I guess you have enough leathers. You could probably sew something really quick.
Yeah, I'd
Like it's
make a
rained on
small
or
scroll.
anything.
Yeah. So I'd put the herbs into a small pouch, and then... herbs into the small pouch, those into the leather, and then tie everything up onto it.
Alright. Then she licks your face and gives you a very happy wag of her tails and starts heading up the main avenue and out of sight back into the back along the road, basically to head back towards Dunskathek.
All right, while we're at the dock area, if there's any people around, I'm just going to ask around and see if anybody knows of any ships and that might be for rent that haven't been blocked off by the fleet.
When you guys were coming down the slope and saw the blockade, the Vabian blockade, it's further to the south. So it won't be affecting you guys as long as you're only going basically straight out into the west, straight out into the sea, or to the north. If you're going along that route, you're fine. If you need to go past that blockade, you're fucked. But asking around, though, you do find a little halfling man that is just like so burned. His skin is so burned to the point that he just has this permanent kind of reddish hue, it seems like. Very sandy hair, just, lips are constantly chapped, it seems like. He obviously is a dock worker of some kind. And he's, has to crane his neck up quite a bit to look at you. And he's not rude, he seems very, very polite and everything, but still seems certainly very nervous. What are you asking him specifically?
I'm just going to ask if there's normally any ships around for rent and anybody to captain it for a short period of time. We are in need of it.
He kind of tilts his head a little bit. I mean, he says, for rent, as in you want to... I guess if you're asking about a captain, then you just want to book passage then, right? That's what you're looking for? You're trying to go to the Empire, right? I mean, that's what everybody's doing these days.
We're actually just looking for something out in the Caledon. Hopefully it's not too far. We just need somebody that knows how to drive a ship and a ship to drive.
You need divers then? I mean, something out in the Caledon, it's an awfully big place to be looking.
We're actually should be looking for something to float, so hopefully it's not under the water.
Oh,
you got a ship out there. What's that, Artemis?
Possibly.
Sorry, is the branch Sarah had like a forked twig or something? Like, does it have like a forking in it?
Not really. It's just like the end of a branch, basically.
Oh, darn it. Okay. Because I was gonna try and get, oh no, wait, that wouldn't work. Never mind. I was gonna try and use locate object to try and locate like a general direction of the ship, but if there's too many ships around me, it would locate all the ships around me instead of the specific.
Don't you have to have some familiarity with it? I don't know if you could locate a ship.
It says alternately the spell can locate the nearest object of a particular kind.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot more ships.
There's
that are far
too many
closer.
ships. Yeah.
It's a good idea though. But the little halfling that Norok is talking to, he says, so you just want to charter a ship then to kind of go out there with you to try to find this other ship you're looking for?
Yeah, there's another ship out there.
He kind of looks left, looks back at you, looks towards the docks, and looks back at you. He says, I mean, he points at the ship that's there. He says the favored wind is here, but I mean it's not exactly what you're looking for. It's going to be leaving tonight, I think, but it's just going to the Empire and coming back. It's just a passenger ship. I mean, maybe you'll get lucky. You could, if you see it or something. I don't know. You a good swimmer? He kind of looks down at your legs, looks back up at you.
Guess I'll find out. What time is it going to be leaving?
Sunset tonight. While you're talking to him, by the way, it's been about the time anyway. Samson comes. You hear him storming because he's carrying that giant ass bag over the plank that is on that ship, the ship that he pointed at, the one that he called the Favored Wind. And the very beleaguered and angry knight comes kind of stomping towards you. His dirty plate armor is really like a stark contrast, of course, to all the simple rags of all these fisher folk around here. And the halfling, seeing him kind of storm, maybe he senses something, you don't know, but with seeing this guy storming over, maybe Samson yelled at him on his way towards the ship or something. But the halfling says, nice meeting you, I got to get back to work, and he kind of waves and turns and kind of rushes off.
I don't blame that poor little halfling.
Was that on purpose, Justin? Justin?
Yeah, what was on purpose?
You put a thing in the chat. I wasn't sure if it was on purpose.
Oh, no, I just bumped my keyboard.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So, yeah, Samson comes... Go ahead.
You were gonna put the day...
You cut out there. Gonna put what?
Sorry, you were gonna put the day and the time.
Oh, yeah. I didn't give you guys the date today. Here you go. It is Sunday, the 8th of Harvestry. It was noon at the start of the session. It took you a couple hours to get here. By now, it's actually about 4 p.m. But while you guys are having this load, Samson kind of storming his way over towards you. He lets out a deep sigh and kind of slings the bag off of his shoulder. He looks like angry and tired, and maybe one is feeding the other, and then it's kind of just this vicious cycle. It seems like. And he says, "Well," and he's kind of breathing heavily from the walk of carrying this thing. He says, "Some good news and some bad. Good news is we've got ourselves a ship, this galleon here," and he kind of gestures over to the ship. He says it was scheduled to set sail for Eifelstead at sunset tonight. The bad news is the cargo hold is full and the cabins are all booked. I convinced the captain to take us out. He'll give us 2 days on the Calliodorn to track down the Emperor. You guys remember the name, by the way. It's the Emperor of the Waves is the ship that you guys are looking for that's floating out in the ocean. But he says they'll give us 2 days on the Calliodorn to try to find the Emperor before resuming course towards Eifelstead. He says you can see how that's a problem.
Okay.
As he's telling it to you, basically, the problem being that the captain has agreed to take you guys out there, but whether you find the ship or not, it's continuing all the way to the Empire. It's going to Eifelstead, which is in Pale, on the south coast of the Empire. Long ways away.
Okay, so we'd have to...
You'd have to find another way back, or, hoof it from Eifelstead, which is, many hundreds of miles away, all the way back to Dunskathak. There's no way you'd be back in time, of course, before the siege, and Vabi would wipe out Dunskathak and everyone there. Your friends, all the people that are there, obviously the Crowblinders, including Pepperjack.
And I'm guessing a small boat wouldn't be able to bring the artifact back.
Are you saying it out loud?
I'm asking as a question.
He kind of tisks a little bit. He says, "It's pretty heavy, miss. I don't think I'd risk it. We get even a slightly tall wave, one about your height," and he kind of gestures at Sarah very rudely. He's giving you a lot of attitude all of a sudden since you were mean to him, Sarah. But he says your height and the ship would capsize. We'd be at the bottom of the ocean, at least long enough until something ate us. And he says, and on top of all that, to make matters worse, as I said, the cabins are full, and they won't let us bunk down in the cargo hold, so that means we're sleeping on deck.
That's fine, we have tents.
He kind of shrugs.
Well, what choice do we really have? It's either going on this ship and hoping we can fight it, or we don't even try.
Wait. I can't locate the ship, but what if I could try locating the Ark? Or is the container lead?
So, You know what? Okay, I would tell you that you probably got the impression based on the stuff you heard from High Mage Scatter and the stuff that both Samson and Pepperjack have told you, that the containment around that box is intended specifically to prevent that kind of divination, along with keeping the radiation inside and not out.
Grr.
Yeah.
Okay, but is there anything else on the ship that we could locate?
Ooh, that's nice. Yes.
Well, are you saying these things out loud?
Yes.
Because Samson wasn't... the conversation Samson was having was not how can we find the thing once we get on the ocean. It's that once we get out there, how are we going to get back? But if you guys are saying this thing out loud, he says, well, that's kind of a rude non sequitur. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but no. But anyways, he says that's kind of the idea I was hoping for. You know, I appreciate your guys' ingenuity with that because, you know, if we got all the way out there and couldn't find it, it would all be for nothing anyway.
Okay, but no, if we take a small fisher boat with us, like, because we could, obviously, if it's a really big boat with, like, a ton of passengers and stuff, we could have one following us, and then we could have a, not really following it, but, like, tied to the boat, like, you know how they have, like, the safety rafters, and then we could have a small rafter boat tied to that boat, and then carry, like, just have that in the one boat and us in the other boat.
He kind of, like, not squinting, but kind of tightens his mouth a little bit. He says, I don't think we can really trust, especially with the weight of this thing and its value, I don't think we can trust it on a small boat like that. We're going to need to take either this boat here, or we're going to have to wait for another one to come into dock, and that could be at any time.
Or we could put it in something where the weight wouldn't matter.
He kind of squints a little bit at you.
Are you talking about putting it in the bag?
Yes.
Would it even fit in the bag?
If we can get it in there. If we can fit it in, the weight wouldn't matter.
That is true.
He says, I've been avoiding giving you guys too much detail, but the box is about yay big, and he holds his hands out, and they're about 4 feet apart. And about 2 feet deep and about another 2 feet tall. It's like a foot locker size.
That's not going to fit in the back of the building.
Well, technically it would, it just wouldn't fit through the opening.
True.
He says, unless you guys have a better idea, my best thought is that we just are going to need to take this ship as far as we can, and we're going to have to cross that bridge, pardon the aquatic pun, when we get there, of how we're going to get back. I mean, maybe, this is a long shot, but maybe, you know, do any of you know how to sail a ship? I mean, if the Emperor of the Waves is at least seaworthy and we can find it, as far as from what Scatter said, it's still above the waves, so it's floating. And if it's seaworthy enough, maybe we can sail it back. I mean, you know, I don't have any way to contact him right now, but we can, you know, find some means of contacting Pepperjack and you know, have the Empire send another ship to retrieve us. Who knows? But we at least have to get out there and find the thing if we're going to have any chance of keeping your people alive.
I could sail a bit, but depending on how much damage, it would be iffy.
If it's sailable, the captain of the ship we're on might be able to at least teach us the basics on the 2-day trip out there.
Well, I already know the basics. It's just depending on how much damage, if it's actually sailable.
Yeah, from what Pepperjack told you, you don't even know if the ship was damaged too much. It's that the sea creature that attacked them when it was the 2 ships that were coming that were holding the Crowblinders, this was just the slower of the 2 ships, so they moved everybody to the fast one and then got the fuck out of there. So you don't know if the sea creature did too much damage to the Emperor of the Waves or not. It may have, you just don't know.
Whatever damage is on it could possibly be fixable, too.
Maybe. You do know that, at least according to High Mage Scatter, as of 3 days ago at this point, it was still above the waves at that point. And that was already 2 weeks since the Crowblinders showed up in Babby. So it had been afloat at least for, say, 12 days, somewhere thereabout.
Okay, so I'm going to say we kind of get a small boat at the same time, like one that will drop us off near the boat if we do find it. So the small boat will either be our way of staying afloat while we're waiting for the Curblinders' other ship to come get us, or spare parts to try and fix the boat if it's still afloat and needs a bit of fixing.
He looks back at the ship that's there, the Favored Wind, And he says, I mean, they have lifeboats attached to it. We could probably convince them to part with one. You know, they're not great, but I mean, it'd be better than sinking. We can at least try.
Yeah.
All right, then I guess are we in agreement then? I mean, not to be fair, that I'm even allowing you guys some say in this is a testament to the work you've done and the appreciation of the Crowblinders for your efforts. But you know, I don't want to be a jerk really, but this is kind of my mission here anyways. So you know, your input's certainly helpful, but this is the route I think we should take.
I kind of glare at him a bit, and I'm like, "Can you tell him that I'm fine with like a ton of treasure hunts, but I like having an actual plan to where I'm not going to drown and die." Thank you.
You uppity non-humans.
Hey, man, if only he had been nicer and listened to the non-humans, he wouldn't have fell in a hole.
But no, like, if he wants to die trying to retrieve this, that's his business. I don't want to die trying to retrieve something.
He kind of looks up at Norak and says, "You've been quiet, big guy. What do you think?"
Well, I guess we're gonna need this thing, so... I don't know. I'll just do whatever the little people say. So...
Well, they're going to be setting sail in the next, and he looks at the sun over the horizon, which is beginning to head down on the over the coast, over the Calydorn in the west. He says we've probably got another 2 to 3 hours or so before they're heading out. We're in the late fall at this point, of course, so sunset comes pretty early.
I am going to give Sarah and Norak my stuff for safekeeping and go swimming to try and study aquatic.
Okay. When do you get aquatic forms? You can do aquatic forms. You can't just do flight, or you can't do flight forms yet, right?
Yeah, I can do aquatic forms, so it could be very helpful.
So you hand over the bag of holding and all of your equipment and stuff?
Yep.
All right. You dive off of the edge of the dock to give yourself a little refreshing swim.
I take off my leather armor first. Thank you very much.
All right. Then you head off to go look for whatever life you may find down there for some more druid forms. Give me 3 nature checks if you would. Samson is just kind of glaring at you at this point. He's getting more and more curmudgeon-y as time goes by, it seems. Like early on, it seems like you guys had kind of built this little bit of a rapport where he respected you despite your races, but that seems to have faded, so now it's just like a begrudging, forced companion in the military at this point for him. What are Sarah and Norak doing?
I'm gonna try and find like a potions shop.
Basically the shops are all along the main avenue that you passed. There is no potion shop that you see, but you do, of course, the Osti, the old lady, the little apothecary, and she did have, some potions and stuff in there too, that kind of stuff, tinctures and
right.
etc.
I'm going back in.
Okay. Arteme, I'll give you the shapes that you found. I have to pull them up on a table. Because of the CR, the limitations of how big you can
right. Okay.
But there would certainly be multiple fish and things like that. I'll let you pick from kind of the plethora that you could see. You'll get 2 shapes that you spent enough time studying with your rolls there. So I'll give you kind of a list of which ones you wanted to focus your time on. But certainly a bunch of fish, probably a couple of smaller sharks, things like that. As well as there were seabirds and stuff like that. But of course you can't do flight forms yet. So, but just remind me, we'll get those afterwards.
Yeah, well, I could kind of study them, but I wouldn't be able to change into them.
Yeah, you can.
I think that's what we agreed on.
Later,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what we had agreed on.
Okay.
I'll study the flight ones while we're on the boat. That way, because I'm not going to jump off the boat and then come back up. Like that would be.
All right. When you step back with Sarah, when you step back in the shop there, Norak, are you going onto the boat with Samson?
Yeah.
All right. He seems to calm down a little bit when you're the only one there with him. He doesn't seem to have as much of a problem with you as he does apparently now with Sarah and Arteme. Sarah, when you get back to the shop there, you open the door again. She says, "Oh, I don't usually see repeat business so often in the same day."
Yeah, I was just wondering, we're setting out on a ship soon. I was wondering if you had anything that would either help me breathe underwater or walk on water, just in case we sink.
She kind of chuckles. She says, we get those kinds of requests all the time. She says, well, I mean, we've got these reeds. These can help you breathe if you get knocked overboard. I've got salves to keep your skin from itching with all the salt spray. Maybe an elixir to keep your lunch inside your stomach when the ship starts rocking.
I'm thinking in case I end up having to dive under the water, something that would help me be able to actually breathe the water.
She says, I've got you, dear, and she walks over to the wall, and she has to reach up pretty high, actually, for her, but she pulls down they look like grass, they're like thick grass, almost like seaweed, and brings them over, and they smell awful. She says, but if you fall over, just wrap this around the back of your head, and she kind of lifts her arms up, but you see she can't pull her arms back behind her shoulders anymore. But she says, just pull this up and wrap it around like it's a bandana or, a mask or something, and tie it around, and it'll help you breathe.
For how long?
They usually last for an hour or so.
Okay. How much? As much as I don't want to. How much for 4?
Oh, these, I mean, I used to go swimming and pluck them out myself, but these, I mean, they're a couple silver. So give me half a gold. Oh, sorry, no. Give me 10 silver. We'll call it even.
Okay.
Do you even have that left?
Yeah, I've got tons of silver and copper, and I still have 11 gold.
Okay.
Plus 2 jades.
Oh yeah, I forgot you took those.
So I'm gonna give her 20 silver, and no, I'm just gonna give her the 10.
Okay.
Just take 4.
All right, then you have 4 reeds for breathing underwater.
Okay, and then I'm gonna ask her if she has anything that might help me walk on the water.
She says, I know the kind of thing you're looking for, and it's just not the kind of work I do. I'm afraid I don't really have that kind of talent.
Do you know anyone in town that does?
People that sell it maybe, but not the people that make it. And I mean, it's not. I'm afraid I don't really talk to the neighbors too much these days. We used to have a lot more, bustling little community here, but now most folk, with the war coming, most folk have headed back to the Empire and haven't come back.
Do you know anyone that's still here that sells it?
I'm afraid I don't, dearie.
That's alright, thank you.
She says, you come back now.
I will
Darn it,
try.
I can't ask her to ask something.
Nope, you are underwater, staring at fish.
I'll head back to the ship.
How do you guys think I feel? I'm just like not even in the game yet.
Yeah, Justin sent me a message in Discord. He says, I need to intimidate the captain. Because, about sleeping on the deck. Like, he just wants to go up and boss the captain around.
I would have asked Sarah to ask her about a recipe, because if I know the ingredients, I could probably make it for.
I mean, obviously you wouldn't have known that, but I will say that she did tell Sarah that they just pluck them underwater. She used to go swimming and grab them herself. They're just a
Yeah,
reed that
but I'm
grows
talking
in there.
about for the walking on water potion.
Oh, I gotcha. She wouldn't know the recipe anyways, so she doesn't make that kind of thing. In fact, I don't even...
Jesus will know that.
Yeah, but even if she can't make it, she might have a recipe from someone who can make it. So even though
that's
she
fair.
can't.
Yeah, she might have, a book or
Because-
something of that sort. But...
Yeah, some vendors stock recipes that way because even if they can't by trade,
Yeah.
or they can't for some other reason, other people can, and they can sell them.
But she sells you the reeds, though. You make your way back to the docks, or you got something else, more business to do?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. All right, you head back down to the docks. By this time, Arteme, you've spent your time with the fishes to learn a couple of new animal forms and come back up to the docks. At that point, you see... were you going to the ship? Sarah, you come back to the docks, see Arteme climbing up out of the water, and see that Norok, who was carrying all of your things, is on the ship with Samson. You can see Norok's big dumb head over the side of the rail.
I would go up to Arteme and hand her one of the reeds and just explain to her what it is, and if she gets a chance to go under, she can pull some if she wants, but just give her one and then head up to the boat.
Okay. Arteme, she hands you these long blades of grass, almost, is what they look like. They're each one, she's got a bundle, and they're kind of rolled up, rolled up in a big ball, almost. Each one is like the way you might roll like a belt, essentially, is probably 3 feet long or so. So, I mean, you've definitely got a big enough picture of this. Give me a perception check on Arteme. This is a somewhat retroactive one, but we'll see if you notice these. While you were swimming down there with the fishes, you did see there was a lot of plant life down there. It's not, you weren't really looking for the plant life, of course, but I'd say that with that roll, you probably saw a little patch that at least somewhat resembled these. They were a different color, but that could just be that once they dried out, they turned this shade.
Okay, so I guess I'd go back in and grab a few more.
Okay. All right. Give me another nature check for you. Make it a sleight of hand, actually, for trying to gather those. Sarah, are you heading back up onto the ship?
Yeah, when I get up there, I'm gonna hand one to Norok, and then I'm just gonna look at Samson and be like, "And I bought you one too." Yeah.
He in a almost like too polite to the point where he's being rude kind of a way, takes it from you and he bows his head very deeply. Like, it's clear that he's being an asshole about it, but he's, it's too outside the scope of chivalry for him to be rude to you when you've done something nice for him. So he's, thanking you very, very overly, overbearingly, I suppose, when you hand it to him. He's set the bag down, by the way. It's just sitting on his foot, like he's basically keeping himself touching it. Arteme, you find the plants back down there, and as you're trying to, pull it away, you feel your hand kind of where you're yanking it is immediately just sliced open, a very, very wide gash through the middle of your palm, because the sides of these blades of grass are razor sharp. Where you tried to pull it away, just your sleight of hand roll is too low. Roll 2d6 for me. But you do manage to, after the first cut, kind of pull out a knife and more carefully grab the sides of the blades and pull out, and you get 6 more. But you rolled back. How perfect is that? When you're trying to do damage or trying to hurt something else, you roll minimum, but when you're hurting yourself, you roll maximum. That's great.
Worst paper cut ever.
Yep. So, I mean, your vision is reddened by this cloud of blood that is pouring out from your hand as you're trying to cut these open. And in fact, you immediately notice the reaction of multiple fish in your vicinity that immediately notice the blood in the water and start kind of making their way slowly towards you. What are you doing?
I use healing word on my...
Does it have a verbal component? Because you're not going to be able to mumble under the water.
Let me find it.
It is only verbal, so definitely not. You try to murmur healing word and end up swallowing a little bit of water. Not enough to hurt you or anything like that. Just you try to murmur it though, and it is unsuccessful.
And I can't really drink a potion underwater either.
You're not very far underwater. You can just swim. Like, you'd be fine to get out.
Okay, I'll just swim up then.
Okay. Your healing spirit's also verbal, actually. I just looked at that. You swim up to the surface, though. You see the fish were kind of coming your way. They weren't, lasered in on you, but you make your way back up to the surface with these long grass strands thrown over one shoulder and pull yourself up out of it and look down, and there's just blood just pouring out of your hand.
Okay, I now actually use healing word.
Okay. All right, go ahead and mark off your spell slot. Yeah, well, I mean, you have enough to be able to heal yourself anyways. You look around, you see that Sarah is missing, so she must be up on the ship as well.
Okay, I go to her up on the ship.
Okay. All right, then...
and hand her the spare.
Okay. You notice a difference in the color. The dried ones, the ones that Sarah had that are all balled up, rolled up like a belt, are almost like dried grass. They're kind of brownish, basically, and the ones you've pulled out are very deep green. It's clear that these are going to take some amount of drying, not necessarily treatment beyond drying, but they're going to need to be dried before they would be effective.
Okay, so I'll set them to dry.
Okay. While you guys are basically up there on the deck, Samson's kind of shuttered you out of the way while you see crew coming and going. Okay, good. I did put that on. It's largely a halfling crew. You see them kind of walking up grabbing a big crate, and they'll walk along the plank and then set it in a certain area, turn around and go back, and so on. Some people going, below the decks and above. Where did that note go? Here it is. After an hour or so of you guys being on board, you guys see other passengers kind of coming and going. Other, various types of people aboard and go below decks. For Justin, you were one of those passengers. So
Finally.
yeah, so you, I mean, there isn't much for you to do at this point. You don't know these people or anything. There will be, next session, of course. The next week you'll actually be involved, but that's how you came into the story. As you were kind of on deck
Okay.
in the ship.
So basically, they just see me walking on board carrying my loot.
Yep, all your things. Justin pulled down a guitar so that he could add some vocal or some audio.
He makes his own sounds. He doesn't even need a program.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I have to push buttons. He just strums the guitar.
Artemis and Serafina look at me and like, all right.
It's she's Arteme.
Arteme?
Okay. But you see this 3'2", was it, halfling or?
Yeah.
Little sandy-haired sapling or messy brown hair. What was it? Smoldering brown eyes and tan skin, like just a ridiculous Lothario description. Making his way on deck and then down below decks. He doesn't look at you beyond that. I mean, you guys are just other people on the boat, basically. Although I would say that for Justin anyway, for Pogo's character, seeing a Yogg, which is what Norok is, they're 7.5, 8 feet tall, very large, very barbarian-looking giants. That's rare. You don't see them very often, so you probably noticed that. But beyond that, it wasn't too much of a surprise, other than seeing another halfling, which is no surprise here in Cadogan, and an elf on deck.
Sounds good.
But you make your way below decks to a cabin that you have rented on the boat there for passage to Eifelstead, which is back in the Empire, which is a lot safer than where you are here, where basically war is coming. But for the rest of the party here, as you guys are kind of watching these the crew come up and so on, you're basically just killing time. After an hour or so, you hear a distantly familiar, very gruff voice call out in your direction, you guys. And it says, "Oi, I never thought I'd see you lot again." And you turn and see the dwarven sailor that you met on the Black Iron slave ship about a month ago. The same one that you guys gave the ship to when you guys set ashore outside of Alcadir.
Right, that guy.
Yeah,
Samson kind of turns somewhat confusedly. He says, "You know this dwarf?" If you guys give me memory checks, you can get another. I'm sure Becky has it in our notes, but
I can't find it.
just give me memory checks. Narratively, it wouldn't matter if Becky remembers his name necessarily anyways, because it's been some time, of course. His name was Orvin. There you go. And he kind of he walks up to you. You know what? You definitely introduced yourselves and got his name before you got off the boat, but you barely, like, you guys were awful about asking names and still somewhat are. So you probably only knew. Not really, Justin. Basically, the ending will be. Can you stick out for like 5 more? We're almost done, actually. You can stick out for like 5 more minutes, okay? Because the ending is going to be important for the beginning of next week, which will be useful for you. So.
Okay.
But we're just about there. So. But as he's walking up, he says, "Off to Pale, then, returning to the Empire."
Not yet. It's good to see you're doing well, though.
He kind of tilts his head at you. Says, "You too, lass. Why are you all above decks? The cabin's all booked up?"
Yep.
He kind of. Go ahead.
Kind of pull out part of the tent and just point at it.
He says, "Well, miss, I mean, I'd offer you my own bunk, but it's kind of small folk size, and that's barely enough for one dwarf." And he kind of pats his gut. He says, "I mean, you could probably fold yourself up to fit in it, though. But I mean, you miss." And he looks at Sarah. He says, "You could fit in it if you wanted. I mean, least I could do after you guys got us out of that bad situation."
That's all right. Artemis here built me my own tent. I won't kick you out of your bed.
He just gives you a big smile. He's missing a couple of teeth. He says, "Well, friends, I mean, I'm glad to have you aboard. I mean, at least I know if we get chased by pirates or them Bavian bastards, you'll have me back."
Always.
While you guys are kind of talking back and forth there, a gruff-looking halfling wearing a tricorn hat and this scraggly, very patchy, kind of pitiful attempt at a beard. He yells over angrily. He says, "Orvin, get back to work, or you can find a new job scrubbing chamber pots at the inn." And the dwarf gives you kind of a sidelong look. He says, "That shifty bastard. I best get back to work then. I'll come topside later, and maybe we can play some dice."
Sure. Sounds good. Maybe we should talk about what happened to that ship we gave you.
He kind of smiles. He says, I mean, real quick, I'll tell you, but I sailed the Remorseless along with the remaining of the slaves back to Eifelstead, and well, I mean, the Juthrans commandeered it, specifically the Inquisition. They wouldn't give it back, so I just signed on with the favored wind there as a deckhand, and I've been here ever since.
That's messed up.
Never trust a Juthran.
Damn Juthrans. Fucking Samson likes it. Samson's a Juthran, isn't he?
Yeah, Samson's a Juthran, and he's like very angry at this point. As well as Cope, by the way, the adjunct that tried to arrest Sarah at the beginning. He's a Juthran too. Yeah.
Knew there was.
Wait, is that a religion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a religion.
Yeah. Saint Juthran.
Okay, gotcha. So that is so basically they're partially racist because of the religion. That's just.
It's specifically the ones who held the crusade-like things I told you about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was largely well, they were one group that was holding those. But anyways, he turns. He says, "On my way, Captain," and he hurries off kind of below decks. But during all this, though, Samson mumbles to you as soon as he's left. He says, "Your friend Dwarf had it right, though. That midge captain is a right bastard. I had to pay double for the rate of a cabin just to get us some time to search for the Emperor, and we still have to sleep on deck."
At least he allowed us on the boat.
He kind of just shrugs and turns away. So I'm gonna, for the sake of time, because Justin's hungry and we're getting close to time anyways, but is there anything you guys are trying to do? Basically, are you doing anything else? Or just killing time until it's time to set sail?
I would finish off the other couple tents, because I haven't completely finished them, and see if I have a few more. Yeah. And then see if I have a few more pelts to make like a small tent for Samson, because I hadn't counted him into my tent making. And also practice my sleight of hand a bit more.
Okay. All right. You have enough time to probably do most. Certainly before you have enough time during this trip, I guess. So let's go ahead and make a couple of checks here. Give me. It's going to be sleight of hand. Well, I guess it's going to be dex. So give me 2 dex checks for the tents. Not proficiency because you're not a tent maker, but just regular dex checks are fine. Whose was it that you had finished? You finished Sarah's first, right?
Yes, Sarah's, because that one was the.
And then you had yours done, so it's just Norok and Norok and Samson that you're making them for?
Yeah, in case I have enough material to make one for Samson.
I'd say that you do. Clover gave you, or Rook rather, gave you a whole lot. More than you were going to need. She wasn't really sure about making a tent herself, so those are good enough. So you managed with those 2 rolls to finish off enough framing that these could be popped up pretty quickly. That at least keep the salt spray from waking you guys up every time the waves hit. So you managed to finish those off. Samson seems somewhat nonplussed, but very appreciative. Maybe you guys are kind of mending bridges a little bit. That he's not as much of a dick. But you managed to finish off both of those. Go ahead and give me a sleight of hand check as well, and I'll mark it on your attempts to do that. Rolling a coin over the back of your knuckles.
Okay, and how would I get proficient at medicine? Because I'm thinking medicine would also be technically alchemy would be under that, so that would affect my potion making.
Alchemy is its own thing, but specifically medicine is going to be reading and performing surgeries and things like that.
Okay.
And you got another success there, so this is A1S19. That leaves you with 3 successes for your sleight of hand.
Okay, so I need 3 more, or I have 3?
You have 3.
Oh.
Yeah. Alright, so how about Norok and Sarah? You guys do anything to spend the time?
I am finding a quiet corner as far away from Samson as I can get, so I can use the sending stone.
Okay. What's the message you're sending?
Okay. I think I got this counted out.
There's plenty of room for you to do that. Samson isn't, he's not watching you guys like a hawk. Like you guys can have your own business. He doesn't care.
Okay. I think I got this. Great.
Okay.
Found a ship.
Found a ship.
heading out tonight.
Heading out to tonight's one word. So let me not count that word. Justin, she has a means of communicating back to the Crowblinders, to Pepperjack. She's supposed to report in every night, but the means of doing the communication that she has is limited to 25 words, so we have to count the words off every time she does this.
Got it.
Here's 6.
The thing in Samson's bag. Did you send it?
You have 10 words left.
Tell him to expect Sai.
Sai is on her way to
5
you.
words left to you. You have 3 words left.
Samson seems sick.
Okay, exactly 25 words. Time-wise, you're still fine. You're all in the same time zone and everything, so it's still just, early evening. A minute or so passes. You get a reply that says, bag is containment necessary. Hurry back, Vabians en route. Samson's sick, and there's kind of a questioning tone a little bit there. He sounds very tired, by the way. Like he sounds like he probably hasn't slept since you guys left, it seems like, and that was 2 days ago. Was that all?
But I can't really say anything else back. So,
Next day.
yeah.
Alright, so you've done the reporting in for the evening then. Anything else for, like, Norok or anything else? I don't want to spend too much longer on it, of course, because we're basically at the end here, but just a bit more.
Well, we can just take care of the narration next time, but I'm going to pull out my loot and start playing, because when I don't know it's Pogo, but when I saw that halfling with that loot, I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I'm going to play my loot over by Samson, and then I'm going to ask him why it is that he doesn't like other races so much, and why it is that he doesn't have a problem with me, because obviously he and I are not the same race, and we can just take care of the narration next time. Right. But just ask him about his racism, basically, in a nice way.
Super fun conversation that's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Yeah.
Why do you hate people?
And this
Why are
is
you digging,
you're plucking a loot. Like that's gonna make it easier.
After
I'm
I
just calm in the
do the
mood.
hand thing, I'll work on the potions for
The salves, you mean?
yeah, selves.
Okay. Okay. You need fire for that. And you're on the deck of a ship, and they may not be very happy about you making a fire on the deck of a ship.
Well, they won't be happy about it if it's happening.
You're gonna get your ass thrown overboard is what's gonna happen. So, alright, you may need to hide it. You get the impression that probably won't be a good thing, or they won't be very happy about that. But we'll come to that next week. For now, though, the sun is low over the horizon, over the Caledonian there. The captain who you've heard the crew address him as Captain Furka. I'll give you that here.
Frickin' bastard.
What was the ship's name again?
The ship is the Favored Wind. Oh, sorry, I actually had that here. Sorry. There you go. I had a note that I meant to give you guys earlier, though. So.
And you're looking for the Emperor of Waves?
Yeah, the Emperor of the Waves.
Of the Waves.
Yeah, here. That's the ship. In fact, actually, that note was the last one. Oh, sorry. Those were the ones from last week. Here's the one. There's the Emperor of the Waves. There you go.
I like that I don't have to pay attention to any of this because my character would have no idea what's going on.
Your character won't know shit yet. Yeah, the only stuff you're going to know that there's clearly
these notes are not for me.
Yeah, there's clearly a war about to start. In fact, that's up to you. For Pogo's backstory, if that's why he's on this ship to get back to the Empire or to go to the Empire. Maybe he's just trying to get out before the blockade could if the Babians attack here in Cadogan or whatever. You don't know, but at least that could be part of it. You at least have enough. Situational awareness of what's going on in the area to kind of decide what Pogo's motivations are at the moment. So, anyways, though, with the sun beginning to set low over the horizon, though, Captain Furka becomes just a whirlwind of barking orders, shouting this way and that, directing small float crew to weigh anchor and prepare to cast off. And within the span of a few minutes, the favored wind is drifting out from the deep docks, and crewmen and women are unfurling the sails while the ship lists to starboard to set sail for the open sea. That one's too quiet. And a quarter of an hour or so after that, the ship is cresting short, kind of smooth waves in this gentle rocking motion. It's almost drowse-inducing. It's very calming. The barking of orders has abated. The captain has gone below decks. The remaining crew, their topside look to be almost relaxing, like they're hanging off the side rails and enjoying the breeze. You guys doing anything in particular now that you're out at sea, beyond what you were attempting to do?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I want to check my hand. I use Shadow Knife.
Okay. Give me a stealth check, I guess. Because there isn't a lot of place that you can go. I mean, you could go to a corner and talk, like you did. You just look like you're talking to yourself. People just think you're crazy. But pulling your sleeve up and seeing that your arm is missing, that's a little different. Okay.
She could do it privately in her tent,
Oh, that's true. I guess if you guys had set your tents up already, sure. And actually, we'll be coming to the evening or to the late night here in a moment anyway. So, yeah. So in that case, we'll just ignore your stealth check. That was good catch, Fox. But you kind of. How are you doing this with the glove stitch? I guess you could just pull it away. You undo the mage hand and then, like.
Well, no, because
touch the sleeve to where the flesh is.
Yeah, because you said like it doesn't. There's nothing there to like hold it on. That's why I stitched the glove on. So I just like feel along the sleeve of my arm to where
your arm is. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So then doing that, you drop your mage hand, and the arm just goes limp. Like the whole sleeve is with the glove attached, with the glove sewed onto the wrist, falls limp, and you look down, and it's above your elbow. It's about an inch above your elbow, where it stops.
Alright.
You recast your mage hand?
Yes. Yeah.
I guess for simplicity's sake, are you keeping that up all the time? As long as you're awake?
Yeah. As long as I'm awake, the mage hand is up.
Okay. Alright. Then with everybody kind of resting in your bunks, Samson, nearby, or in your tents rather on deck, give me perception checks, all three of you. Let me roll one for Samson too. Hang on, dog. Almost done.
Oh, by the way, while I'm sleeping, I am keeping.
Oh,
that,
sorry. Should have rolled that entire.
Oh, roll it. The little scroll case, like right next to me, just hoping to be able to talk to the eye.
Okay. Are you still sleeping with the broom again?
The broom.
The
broom cuddles constantly. So anytime Sarah goes to sleep, the broom wiggles its way up under her arm until it's like sleeping under her arm, like it's trying to cuddle with her.
Okay. Well, before she goes to sleep, I'd give her part of the salve that I started because I want to use all the ingredients.
Okay. Do you? I guess then, Sarah, just briefly. Then, are you trying to apply that already?
Yeah, I would try to apply some.
All right. We'll come back to that next week then. With those checks, let's see. Norok, there's you still worrying a bit and thinking about what's going on back at Dunskathak and the current status of Obo, who is really your only attachment to your tribe. Still, as far as you know, the only one still alive, even from your tribe, is making resting difficult for you. Sarah and Arteme, you guys both are able to kind of fall asleep with the calming sound of the waves. It's just repeated motion, almost like white noise. Sarah, your sleep is untroubled. Even with the scroll case there, you don't really. It doesn't seem like it's trying to talk to you at the moment, so you're not disturbed. But Norok, you're not able to fall asleep, even with this constant sound. But the seas are relatively calm. The gentle kind of lapping of the waves against the hull is almost a lullaby. But while you're trying to rest, you notice that the cadence of the waves hitting the hull is changing ever so slightly. Where the sounds of the sea have been largely like clockwork, the same repeated reverberations over and over and over again of the waves lapping against the sides of the ship, all of a sudden you notice that there's a new sound, one that is changing that repetition, and it sounds like something is like it's coming from alongside the hull of the ship in the water. What are you doing?
I'm going to staying down.
You're inside the tent that Arteme made for you.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is wake up and, grab Vulcan and with me and crawl, essentially kind of crawl like down instead of standing up and get over as close to the side of the ship as I can and look over from the side that I thought I heard it coming.
Okay. It's on the starboard side, which is where you guys are kind of camped out on the deck. Looking out over the side of the railing there overboard, in the kind of half light of the blue and the red moons that are they're both half moons at the moment. No, sorry, they're both quarter moons at the moment. You see what must be a dozen fish devils that are keeping pace in the water alongside the ship. You don't recognize these creatures, but I'll give you an image here in just a moment.
Okay.
Each swimming with this kind of sinuous grace, and are holding various spears and tridents and aquatic weaponry. You watch as the one in the lead of this dozen or so that you see bursts up through the surface of the water and lashes itself onto the side of the ship, where it grasps onto kind of net rigging and begins to climb its way aboard with the others close behind it. And I'll share the image, and that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Okay.
That is what you see climbing up the side of the ship with another 11 behind him or so.
Okay.
And we will end it there.
Barely even left port. Holy gee.
I mean, you guys have been sailing for 4 hours at this point. 4 or 5 hours at this point.
Oh, okay.
It's basically late at night. You guys left at sunset, and it's late at night right now.
Gotcha.